Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. It's almost the end of March.
Yeah, it is. We have another burst of cold weather here currently. Not terribly cold, but it's in like the 40s, high 30s, low 40s.
It got cold here a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the days are warm. Well, not warm, but like they feel more like spring. At nighttime, it's cold.
We just had our air conditioner tune up for the summer season, getting them in shape, and yeah. Oh, and you'll appreciate this. That spring is fully here, and that we're moving out of winter when it's time for the old elementary school chili cook-off.
Oh, have fun at that.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. It's a good time. I like the chili cook-off. I don't like chili, but it's kind of cool. So yeah,
have fun. Send me some chili in the mail.
Yeah.
Like
a little 20 of the bag of chili.
Just like a mixed bag of everyone's chili.
It's all put together. Yeah.
I just remember when like the pandemic was still happening and they were like rushing to do the chili cook-off.
Yeah. Did they do it every year? Was it an every year?
Not the only year that I don't think they did it was, well, you tell me. I don't know. I didn't send him back until like right before we moved.
I think
2020. I guess it got canceled.
I want to say they
was hit, and then I don't know about 2021. I feel like
they skipped it one year and then had it the next. Because I remember going to it one year. I think wearing masks and kind of staying outdoors. It's a weird thing. It's like half of it's indoors, half of it's outdoors, and I want to say they had it one year. Anyway, this it'll be a good. Anyway, it's chili cook-off time, and we got a lot going on here to talk about. We got the latest episode of The Mandalorian.
Wow,
which was I thought it was really, really good.
I think so too. We'll talk about that.
We're going to talk about a couple current events, that horrible shooting that occurred in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
There's like so many different angles to that. And it's just real sad. The whole thing's real sad and also infuriating. We have a trio of Trump topics. He had a rally in Waco. Which
I can't even anything about that. We'll talk about that. But
yeah, the only thing that could be even weirder is if he holds one next week at like Ruby Ridge, Idaho, or something.
Is that where what was that?
That was where FBI agents shot a weird white nationalist, and Republicans got all angry because we didn't let them be white nationalists. And
what's the ones with the people who were like Nikes and they thought they were going on the spaceship? And they, like,
that was the Heaven's Gate people. I forget where they were.
No, I heard and then what's the other one? The famous Kool-Aid one.
Oh, that's Jim Jones out in Guyana.
Yeah. I heard the next Trump rallies in Guyana.
Right. That's probably true.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're talking about the rally in Waco, just sort of a Trump DeSantis preview. I think, spoiler alert, I think Trump is going to clobber DeSantis. And then we were going to talk about Trump going on trial, but I guess the grand jury decided they'd take a month off or something. Did you hear that?
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. All right. And then we're going to talk about the TikTok hearings, which there's a lot there. It's real sad and depressing, like a lot of these topics. But to make up for it, we're going to talk about some lady who thinks that she prayed her toes into growing back.
You mean wait, you mean the congresswoman from Florida?
Yeah, apparently a woman from Florida.
Yeah, was she from Florida, this lady, though?
I have no idea.
But you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
she looks identical to this woman, cat something.
Yeah, she was like a big star of the TikTok hearing, and then I saw the lady with the toe growing, so I thought they were. I just assumed they were the same person.
Yeah, they could be.
It might as well, right?
Yeah.
I
We'll talk
mean,
about her. And then we're talking about
who's to say they're not the same person, you know?
she could be the congresswoman.
I mean,
Um,
I bet you their politics align 100%.
and their understanding of science.
Yep. I want to talk about, okay, anything? Oh, and then we have like one more, right?
Yeah, well, we were talking about Elon Musk's Twitter revamp. It's Twitter's getting like less and less easy to use.
I mean, I have no issue with it, honestly. Like, I mean, well, we'll talk about it, but
yeah,
I see the weird little bugs.
there's the weirdest bug to me is that when I open the app, it seems to constantly return me to a random tweet that I saw and didn't even interact with like multiple days before. And then you have to like click a bunch of buttons to kind of like make Twitter wake up and do what it's supposed to do. I don't know what to call that kind of error, but it's a bizarre one. And there's a lot of, anyway, we'll talk about that at the end. So what did you want to add here?
Man, I just totally forgot.
Yeah. It'll come to you along the way.
What?
It'll come to you along the way.
No, it's gone.
All right. Well, let's start with The Mandalorian. We saw the latest episode of The Mandalorian.
Sure.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was really good. I liked it. I mean, I've liked the season so far. I enjoyed like pretty much every episode. I could see people's complaints. People were just like thought the season was like kind of directionless. A lot of people didn't like the Coruscant episode with Dr. Coruscant. Whatever.
Yeah,
I like Star Wars. No, I mean, I enjoyed it. I think like the effects are top notch. Everything looks great. Like if you look at this and you look at the first season of Mandalorian, my God, like this shit is just crazy. This episode alone, like the fight with the pirates and everything. Like, I mean, this is on par with the movies. That's why I'm saying, like, what are they gonna do in the movies to like really? I mean, really, they're gonna have to do something really special to make a movie. Because what they're doing with this show is pretty incredible.
Well, that's that shot in the beginning of the X-Fighter, the X-Wing landing on right outside the Covert's place, right next to Bo-Katan's ship. I mean, it looked amazing. I mean, it was like, this is really, really good. Even for a movie, it'd be good. So.
That's what I mean. Like, it's just like the effects, the costumes, the makeup, the aliens. Like, I mean, some of it's like kind of corny. Some of them, I still like feel like they never do those boss characters right. I don't know. They always look
they do. They look a little
something about them. I don't know what it is. Like, just the one time it worked perfectly is in that fucking Empire Strikes Back with that, and it just standing, and he doesn't really do anything. And he just goes,
yeah.
And that guy's like, what the hell?
Yeah, some of them look a little rubbery. You know, like the yeah, I know what
alien,
you mean.
the one alien pirate who's like, I'm going to get you now, Mando.
Yeah, Swamp
He's
Thing.
He's a little rubbery looking.
Oh, but, yeah, the henchman.
But I mean, the main pirate, man, that whole just the green algae. He looks like he's from Sigmund, like a Sid and Marty Krofft.
Yeah,
but like, you know, with good effects.
Right.
Everything, I love that. Like, it looked amazing. I like that he had like a little Ugnaught Shmi, like from Peter. Like he had the Ugnaught was like Shmi.
Yeah, and the whole thing was real cool.
What's his name? Peter Pan. Hooks. Like,
yeah, Shmi.
Yeah, he's kind of like that. I like that the pirates are literally like yo ho ho pirates. Like
they are. It was very nautical.
I'm fine with that. I mean, duh. You're gonna be a pirate. You gotta dress the part. You go to Party City. You get your pirate out.
Well, even there's like elements of the ship. He basically had this giant steering wheel for the ship. It was like a pirate.
Sick as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, the show is just all right. So this episode was like really good. I think it did a good job of like tightening up the first 4 episodes and now telling like, okay, there's a bigger story going on here.
Yeah. Well, it tightened. There's 3 big plots. There was the Bo-Katan Mando plot.
Yep.
There was the pirates plot, and with the with that planet, and then there was the Coruscant Empire stuff.
With
and
the New Republic, with
yeah.
the with that rebel pilot or whatever he is.
Yeah. And this episode brought all of those 3 plots together into one story. And so it worked really well in that regard.
Yeah, I really, like I said, and yeah, it brought, so it's like all the people were bitching about the Dr. Pershing episode. It's like, well, you know, it's part of the story here. And I love like Tim Meadows is in this. That's great.
He was great. When I saw him, I was like,
I was just started cracking up when I saw him. That guy, I love that guy. I feel like he's one of those people who's just like unappreciated.
Yeah. Why did he retreat from public life? I mean, I guess he's still acting, obviously, but
he did tons of shit.
I've not seen him in hardly anything.
I just saw him in an episode of what was that? Poker Face. He had a great episode on that.
Oh, okay.
And tons of stuff. He shows up.
I have not.
You just don't see him.
I've got his
like John Cena. No one sees him.
All right, his movies. He was in Hubie Halloween, which I did not see.
Cinematic classic.
He was in.
I have to go up there's IMDb. The man works and just the man.
Well, yeah, you're right. He's been in a lot of TV shows.
Yeah, guy's funny as hell. I feel like he's one of those unappreciated SNL people. And anytime he shows up in something, it's funny. He just has like a very good way of delivering lines.
Yeah, he's really good. And you're right. He's like Gene Hackman in the sense that no matter what he's in, he'll make it a little bit better.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, he could be in. I think he's one of those people just like elevates the whatever you're watching. So I love that he's like this bureaucrat, and I love that like so Captain Carson Teva kind of like there's like multiple protagonists in this show, so like you gotta get he kind of carries this episode, and one he gets I'm glad we got to see Navarro again and Carl Weathers. I thought like this was going to be his only episode. I'm glad it's like they came back to it.
Yep. And
the pirate ship from the first episode wants revenge, and they basically phone tell Grief, we're going to blow your damn. I just thought he has like no security force, none.
I thought that was weird too. Like,
well, he was complaining the Mandalorian. He said like he didn't have his like sheriff, whatever, because Cara Dune went off with the New Republic to be basically, because Carson Teva enlisted her in the end of season 2.
Yeah.
And so he says that. So that's what, it was like people were like, oh, they wrote her up the show. It's like, no, I mean, she was supposed to be in a show called Rangers of the New Republic. And,
right.
Well,
now she's on. Yeah. Now she's on.
Not gonna spoil it. We don't need to tell this in order, but did you notice that they basically explained what happened to her?
What did they say? I do remember.
Well, the end of the episode, did you see it when Carson Teva sees that shuttle that was blown up?
Was she one of the guards, I guess?
I think she was one of the bodies. There's like an arm, and they're saying it's probably her.
Oh, that's funny.
That's a good way to like. So you have the character kind of go out because it's like, she was there to guard Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
Esposito's character. And because he says, like, he even says to Meadows' character, like, he hasn't even faced a trial. And I love, like, so they get Grief Cargo's getting, and Navarro's getting attacked, calls a distress signal to the New Republic.
Yep.
Even though he was bragging about how they don't want to be part of the New Republic, whatever, need their help.
Yep.
And he goes there, he gets the distress signal. He's at there's like a little rebel hangar or whatever, New Republic hangar with X-Wing pilots.
Yeah.
And you probably have no fucking clue, but they basically brought in a major character in that scene. Remember there was like this big kind of purplish guy that was talking to him, and he kind of had an accent. He's from Rebels. So this is like a perfect like CGI cartoon to realistic CGI. This is his first appearance in live action.
It did seem like, this is a significant character, or you should pay attention to this character.
I had no idea.
I did not.
Purple alien. Okay, it's Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
playing
It's the 90s.
playing Candy Crush while watching. Not really paying attention. Well, he was like a main character in the cartoon Rebels,
Okay.
and he might show up in the Ahsoka show. This character,
Okay.
they're supposed to bring in a lot of the Rebel characters into this. So, and I just find it funny. I kind of find it funny because a lot of people usually bitch and complain about like how the characters look from cartoon to live action. Like everyone complained about that Grand Inquisitor and Obi-Wan.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, I could see the complaint. The guy cartoon's like very narrow and thin, and the guy was kind of it looked like Pop Candy. No. And then like I guess and then like people were bitching about that Cad Bane. I was like, he looked great. I'm like,
oh, he looked good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like so but this one is like, I guess because this character's just full on CGI, because it's like it's easier probably nail, you know what I mean? It's just like, I mean, he's basically like a CGI alien. But that was kind of a cool little like first appearance of a character.
Yeah, that is cool.
There. That was like, and I liked how they did it without making like this big entrance. Just like, hey, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, it was kind of a casual aside.
You watched Seinfeld last night? All right, well, keep fucking that chicken. I thought that was crazy. Remember when he said that? He said, keep fucking
that wasn't. I was like, that's going to be a catchphrase. I'm going to see that on a T-shirt down at the old Hot Topic.
Keep fucking that chicken. That's actually from some newscaster years ago. You remember that?
Oh no, I don't.
Okay, there's if you Google "keep fucking that chicken," there was like a local news or something in New York, one of the stations at night.
Yeah,
and they were like signing off, and the main newscaster, I remember for years watching this guy, and like they went around. It's just like they're like, all right, well, have a good night. Have a good night. We'll fuck you. Yep, keep fucking that chicken.
Oh my god.
I was like, did the guy have a stroke? I don't know. I don't think he lost his job or anything. It was just like one of those things, and
yeah, right.
All over the internet. So then he goes to Coruscant, this guy, because it's like he's got to get approval. They can't just go like take a bunch of X-wings and
Yeah.
And Tim Meadows that's when you meet Tim Meadows, and it's like basically all of a sudden turns into The Office.
It really did. It
literally in an office, and he's trying to get permission, and that woman from the what's her name? Officer, what's her name? What's her character's name?
It's a real short name.
Ellie? Is it like Elia or something?
It's something like that.
She's the one that was revealed that she's might not be a good guy because she was like
she's not a good guy.
No, not at all. But she's like totally like the Office kiss ass. I felt like I was like watching The Office, and she's based. It was like, do you ever watch The American Office?
Oh yeah.
It's like Tim Meadows was like Michael Scott, and she was that guy.
She was Dwight.
No, not Dwight. No. That guy that he always thought was like amazing. The young guy.
Packer. Yeah, Packer.
What?
Are you talking about Packer?
Who's Packer?
Yeah, he was the traveling salesman
that
Michael idolized.
It was the younger guy. The one who was like starts off as an intern, but then he ends up becoming like the head of the company for a bit because he came up with some bullshit.
Ryan or something? Ryan,
yeah. He's basically like Ryan. Because like the joke was like Michael Scott thought that Ryan was like amazing and so funny, and he was just some like little shit. And Jim always hated him.
Yeah.
It kind of remind me of that. But yeah, she's great. I love how like she gets like all offended when like he brings up that she was like an Imperial or something.
Yeah, she's like, I'm used to this kind of prejudice or something.
Like, you were Imperial like a week ago. Get the fuck out of here.
It was an interesting thing because like often in real life you hear about like when one force beats another, it sucks because like if you treat the people you just conquered very poorly, they'll rebel against you. So you'll never beat them really. So you got to kind of like assimilate them into your ranks, but like that comes with its own problems.
Like they might like you're like inviting the scorpion, the frog theory. I can't believe this lady that worked for this horrible regime turned out to be horrible.
And she seems to be fully sympathetic to the Empire. She seems just there to start shit and to,
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's like
Anyway.
really good at being friendly and has like a
Yep.
nice voice and is like, you know,
She doesn't look threatening, and
no, even though she's like jacked.
yeah, that's true.
She's like super threatening. She's like super jacked. I think that was great though, because I liked when he sees her. She has like a little badge, which is that what do they call that again? That the conversion or whatever it is, reassignment.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It says basically she was formerly Empire, now she's with them.
Yeah, he sees that, and you could tell this guy probably fought during the rebellion year, so
Yeah.
he still sees them like fucking Imperial.
Well, and he was a fighter. Like Tim Meadows character was just a pencil pusher. You know, I mean,
I think they said that he might have been one too, or like more of like
he was a colonel. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah,
that doesn't mean he started in combat.
that's true.
But yeah, I know it was. I thought that was a fun scene. Not fun. It's like not for him at least. Right. So he's like desperate. Then he shows up to the Mandalorians on that. Surprised like a dragon and come out and eat him.
I know, right?
That bay that they're sitting on. And you know, he asked them to join him in the fight. So we get the Mandalorians to come.
Yeah.
And go ahead. What?
That was a great scene where Mando like makes his case, and then the big kind of HVAC gun wielding
that guy
gets up, and you
John Favreau character.
Right. I assumed that he was going to say like, fuck this, we're not going to, but he was like super into
he's like, we're Mandalorians, this is what we do. Yeah. You know, he also owes Mando a favor, you know. So.
Yeah.
I so a little interesting backstory in that character is that he's a Vizsla. I don't know the names. I always find like I never really watched these episodes of the Clone Wars that much or Rebels, but like basically the Mandalorians were like, I don't know if they're like pacifists, but there was like a pacifist society, and Bo-Katan's sister was like a higher up or in charge, whatever. And Bo-Katan ended up joining like a terrorist group and controlled by this guy named Vizsla, voiced by Jon Favreau as well. That big dude is like either like a nephew or he's in that family. So that's why it's funny that the same character. That big dude comes from the Vizsla family line or whatever. Especially with like the blue outfit. And Bo-Katan, that's why I find it interesting that maybe he like, did he not recognize her or something like that? Right. I don't know. He might have been like too young or something. I don't know. It's like funny, you know. She comes from like the Clone Wars era, but she looks great for her age, you know. Like Obi-Wan, like turned into like an old man.
Yeah, he did. Well, we actually get to see her at the end of this episode.
Well, we got to see her. We've seen her face in every episode.
Yeah.
Even in the last one, she got to take her helmet off. I think
that's true when she was eating. Yeah.
Yeah. And then but that woman, the armory gives her permission. We'll get to that later. But like, you have like the little circle. I like that. Like whoever speaks holds the armory's like
the hammer.
Yeah. And so everyone's pumped. They all go out there and they fight the pirates. And Mando brings up like, hey, you know, you did offer me like a bunch of land and shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you up on my offer. I'm going to move my crazy, weird religious people.
Like compound.
Well,
it makes sense. I mean, it makes
Duggar
sense.
Family.
God. It makes sense that that it would be kind of a symbiotic relationship, that they would all get something out of it. But
I mean, Greek Cargo needs like he has no security or anything.
Right, no soldiers, no anything.
Yeah. So I love the whole pirate fight scene. I love that we got to see the little Babu Fricks again.
Oh, they were great.
So it's funny. It's like, you know, how come they didn't leave like that? They're like 6 inches tall, and they were like their house was like under a house, like they're probably like, they're not even gonna notice we're here. I just love in the end when like they all win and the things are just standing like, oh, like How did you guys climb up there? You're like 6 inches tall. Baby, this is not like last week's episode. This is not a heavy Grogu episode.
No, there's hardly any of him.
We just get Grogu's face, like little scenes where they just like, hey, Grogu's in the episode, and he's like, meh, like he doesn't do much.
It was all stock footage.
That he's what?
It was all stock footage.
Yeah, it's Millhouse in his bedroom, like in that the what do you call it? The Radioactive Man movie.
Yeah.
Like when he left the set. Jiminy Jilkers. I like though that like he sits with Mando in the cockpit. I'm like, I don't know, you're trying to fly around, you got this little thing in front of you. You told me that thing's not distracting at all.
Yeah. It's like when I'm trying to type and the cat's running around my hands and stuff. It was good. It was good. I don't mind them taking an episode away from Baby Yoda. He's great, but this was like a different kind of episode. A lot happened, and it was a pretty, I don't know if I'm going to say like action packed, but it had a lot of action.
I mean, it was definitely action packed. I mean, they took on a giant pirate ship, and
yeah.
I mean, the whole like, I like everyone's great in it. I like what's his face. I think Carl Weathers is great on the show.
Yeah, he is.
Character. I like the whole like. I like the way the Mandalorians interact. I still don't. I'll say this. I still don't trust Bo-Katan. I like. So the Armory has her come in, basically saying like, you saw the like. I think she finally realized like, okay, this woman saw the Mythosaur. She knows the story of the Mythosaur. The Mythosaur is the reason why. The Mandalorians were able even to have that planet to begin with, because like. I don't even know what the names of these Mandalorians are, but like the first one rode the Mythosaur.
Right.
The Keel, the Nick Nolte Ugnaught in the first season talks about that character saying riding the mighty Mythosaur. And the fact that she saw it. And so it like, of course, she's like, yeah, you can take your helmet off. We need to get as many people as possible. And I know that not everybody is wears their helmet all the time.
Well, it was kind of
actions.
Yeah, because she basically said, if I understand this right, on Mandalore, they weren't all like the Mandalorians we see here. This was like a sect or a cult.
This is literally like the Hasidic people.
Exactly.
Like, it's just a more conservative, more like stricter, more abides to everything, and they wear the helmets everywhere. They never see their faces. It's like pretty crazy. Like, and it's like crazy because I saw someone talk about this. Like, I like, okay, so we know there's like that son who was saved last week's episode.
Right.
Like, does he even know what his dad looks like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like crazy. So she takes her helmet off and everything like that. Everyone's like, what? They think it like she's gone. They're like, no, I gave her permission because we need her to go out.
They accepted that pretty quickly, I thought.
Well, it's like she's the leader,
Yeah.
Because I think she even says that to her or something like that about recognizing that her.
Yeah, she said like, "Do you trust my authority?" or something like that, or something.
Yeah, she said, "Respect my authority." Like Cartman from old episode that I did that once.
Yeah, I like taking the helmet off. I wish we could get to a point where all of them just.
I feel like that's where it's going to go. So, but this is what I think is going to happen. See, the big kicker in the end of the episode is that guy,
Moff Gideon.
That guy discovers that Moff Gideon's ship was destroyed. Not the ship, but the carrier.
The prison transport.
Carson Teva discovers the transport. And not just the fact that, like, okay, this was the transport for Gideon, because he said he was never sentenced or put on trial or whatever.
Right.
But there was like, what's that? Beskar, whatever it's called.
There's a chip of Beskar wedged in the
so
wall.
The thing is that like supposedly the plot is that I don't know if Moff Gideon is considered a Mandalorian, but basically in the storyline at some point Bo-Katan was given the sword, the Darksaber, by Sabine and the Rebels, which is interesting because the story is like you have to fight for it, and then whoever possesses it, you're recognized as the leader. But Sabine gave it to her. They didn't fight. She's like, here, you're the leader.
Right.
And I guess at some point, Moff Gideon fought her and took the Darksaber because he had it in the end of that episode of season
Yeah.
1 when he came out of the TIE fighter and pulled out that dark saber, and people were like,
It was a great scene. Yeah.
What?
That was a great scene.
Yeah, because most people who didn't watch the cartoon were probably like, fuck is that? The cool ass black lightsaber. So he might have his own group of like Mandalorians. The other thing is, you know, in the first episode of the season, when, you know, Mando goes to like talk to her, she says, like, my people left me. Like she was all by herself
Right.
in the castle. But I'm not sure, you know, like in the season finale, you know, he laughs when he gets it, when Mando beats him and has a dark saber. He laughs because he knows that like Bo-Katan wants it, and the only way he can have it is if she fights Mando.
Right.
And you know, he's like laughing in the end, and it's like that. It's like that's not how it works. Like you have to fight for. And I wonder if like she made some kind of deal and like used her people to like free him. I just think that like I think it would not shock me if she turns out to be a bad guy, because she was a bad guy in Clone Wars. She was like, she basically like is the reason why her sister was killed. And it wouldn't shock me if she turned out to be, you know, she wants to be in charge and she's gonna do whatever she can. It wouldn't shock me. I could see the big reveal, is my prediction, if she were to turn heel or whatever, revealed as a bad guy, is if she kills the armory.
I could see that happening.
I always like when they always have the cool scene with the armory lady when like she gets to go in and use her little her tools as weapons and kicks ass. That was in season 1 too, and she took on a bunch of stormtroopers.
That's right. Yeah.
And then in this episode, when they had the Gatling gun in this one, they were taking out all the people, and they're like, she sneaks in and just
with her tongs and her hammer.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was like, yeah, she's gonna do that shit. You know, it's like that scene, you know, The Simpsons, when like you're seeing the one with the Yakuza gang versus the mafia.
Yeah.
And there's like a little Yakuza guy, and Homer's like, oh, you know, he's gonna do something.
Right.
And he sits there and then eventually does do something cool. He's like, I'll do all these kinds of flips and shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's the armory lady. You know, she's gonna do something cool with those things.
Yeah, I could see. I think Bo-Katan is going to turn heel. I could see her having a redemption at the end, but it just seems like real obvious that that's what's going to happen.
Maybe. I mean, there's definitely something up with, you know, there's Beskar in there. It could just be that he is also a Mandalorian, and there's a faction of Mandalorians that follow Gideon, and they may have been the ones that saved him. It'd be kind of cool if he has like he shows up and he has a Mandalorian costume.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, he could, in theory.
Yeah.
Especially if he was freed. He might have his own Mandalorian costume.
That would make sense.
It's all black and stuff, like a real Mandalorian costume. That'd be probably pretty sick looking.
Actually, that would be really cool looking.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a great episode. It really brought everything together. It kind of like set the stage for, I guess, the second half of this season. I thought it's been real solid all the way through.
Yeah, I think this episode definitely tightened things up. Like I said, I saw a lot of like people there's voices on the internet that I refuse to like. I know it's full of shit, and like they just want to hate anything to do with Star Wars or Marvel. When anything goes, you know, anything they could find go wrong, they just hate on it.
Yeah.
And then there's others who have real critical opinions, and I take their word for it, and I think they're coming from like a good source, and they are fans of it, and they don't fall for that woke or that bullshit. They just said, like, you know, they just felt like the season was like a little directionless, but I feel like after this episode, that changes everything. I feel like this episode really, this is the thing I think is missed from a lot of streaming service shows. I like that there was like another, like a mini bad guy.
Yes, I do too. Yeah.
I like that there was that guy, that pirate, and that he was introduced season 1, and then we got the battle with him in this season episode, like a couple episodes later. I like that. It breaks it up a bit, and then obviously introduces another villain. I always find just shows in general, and it's not just streaming shows, but shows in general, like they'll just have like one real villain for the entire season. And
Yeah.
like, what happened to the days when Batman and Robin would just 1 week would fight King Tut, and then the next week would fight Vincent Price as the Eggman.
Yeah.
And then go against
what indeed happened to those times?
You know, like next week has the Penguin, and we get like an episodes of Catwoman.
Yeah,
Cesar Romero's Joker. I always love that.
Oh, he was
like,
great.
You get a shavy mustache this time? And he's like, hell
Nope.
no. You're gonna see
Not gonna fucking happen.
under the white makeup. It's gonna look fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's like, why not just give him the mustache to Joker?
Yeah,
I'd have been fine with that,
There's probably some sort of like law against it at the time.
I don't know if you remember, but there was like a cartoon years ago called like Batman Strikes or whatever.
I don't remember that one.
Okay. I was kind of like done with this type of stuff for a while, and I didn't like this came out like after the Batman animated series was done.
Okay.
And this one was like definitely more 90s looking. And my favorite thing was whoever designed the cartoon, they literally made the Joker look like a juggalo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Google like Joker Batman Strikes TV show cartoon. He looks like he's got like Rastafarian hair. It's super weird. It's like Batman Strikes cartoon, the Joker.
Oh yeah, weird.
Yeah, I hated it. I saw that. I was like, all right, this isn't for me.
Yeah, it's like that is weird.
This isn't gonna age well.
It's like big dreads or something. Let's see.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, so what's your prediction then before we wrap this up? What's your prediction for the show?
I think you're gonna see. Geez, I mean, it's eventually gonna be like how the new alliance is not kind of living up to its tasks politically. I think you're gonna see that former Empire agent turn clearly bad.
You think she'll get exposed by the end?
I think by the end, well, that's a good question. That might be the thing, is she causes all this mayhem, and then the last scene is her just showing up at work the next day with no one the wiser. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see where it all goes. Every time I make a prediction about it, it seems like I also have a good reason as to why that would not be the case.
Who do you think is going to ride the Mythosaur?
Yeah.
Or Dejarn?
I think Dejarn, and I think that will cause a lot of friction between him and the Katie Sackhoff character, Bo-Katan.
It's like funny because it's like he has this dark saber and he's barely
never uses it.
He never brings it out. I wonder if because he knows like the armory people, the armory lady and their people, like that sector, like they're not good. They don't care. Like that's. Like they don't give a shit about that stuff. Like this dark saber means nothing to them or something. Like I'm curious. Like he never gets brought up. Like, oh, you have the dark saber, and he's like, I won it in battle. Like, Grand Moff Gideon, and she'd be like, okay, go get baptized again so we can put you back in.
Yeah.
Because like in theory, like I said, it's like he could have just been like, yeah, I'm a fucking leader now. I got this thing. And guess what? You don't have to wear helmets anymore.
Right. No, you got to go through a process.
No, I'm just wondering why it's never been brought up again. And it's funny because it's like he has this thing, and that was the other joke too. Is like the only reason why he ended up getting it was because he was trying to save Grogu.
Yeah.
And he ended up fighting Grandma, Gideon.
That's right. Yeah.
And they had that fight, and then beating him and getting the weapon, and Sackhoff was pissed because I think she even said to him, Gideon's mine, because she had to fight Gideon. One to get revenge, but the main reason why she wanted to fight him was because she wanted to best him and get the weapon so she could have it. And he ended up besting Gideon because he was there, and there was no motive about getting a weapon. It was more of just like, I'm gonna take this asshole on because he kidnapped my own green My
Yeah.
green buddy.
I don't know. I like the way it's tightening. I'm anxious to see where it's going. Yeah. That's what I'll leave it at that.
All right. You're not gonna write the next script for me?
Fire up the old chat GPT. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should have said that, because that's what one of the things is. I think at the end you're gonna see Mando and Baby Yoda kind of go off on their own, a la Shane.
You think that's how it'll end, with them just like, because I feel like he will not, something will happen and he will not, or I don't know, maybe everything will work out and like she isn't a bad guy, or you think maybe they do. I could also see something where they do like a swerve, like a trick out where we think she's the bad guy, but then she's not the bad guy, and then Mandalore's like kind of back a bit, and then they're like, "Are you gonna stay around, Djarin?"
Right.
No, the road needs me.
The road beckons.
The road beckons. Furiosa, Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Bo Katan Furiosa.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
The Road Warrior.
The Road. Yeah. Well, they're doing that Furiosa sequel.
Prequel.
Is it a prequel?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't give, like, I don't know. I guess if you have a compelling story to tell, but like, I don't know.
Well, the latest Mad Max didn't sound good to me until I saw it and loved it.
What I liked about that movie was how it just was this. I mean, it just was like an insane car ride. Most of it. It was just like the cars driving. It didn't really. There was like there was very little slowdown.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I will. Now I'm thinking about Mad Max. I'm real curious to see where the Mandalorian goes. It'll be good.
Better be.
All right. So what do we got? What do we got next? We have
God,
horrible gun tragedy, right?
I mean, there's one. The thing is, there's one there's one all the time. There's like gun tragedies all the time. Like I said last week, there was like one in my area, not.
Yep. Oh yeah, I remember.
Nothing as crazy as this one, but still not good. I mean, it seems to be a never-ending issue. So I guess this was at a Christian school or something.
A Christian grades K through 6 school.
And someone showed up and killed 3 kids, 3 teachers or something.
I think it was 3 kids, a principal, a teacher, and a janitor. I think.
And
something like that.
Guess, were they taken out or did they kill themselves?
The police came and killed that person.
It wasn't the Uvalde cops?
No, it was not. That was, and look, I'm not a huge cop fan, but like, it was really like, I saw some of the body cam footage of these cops. The cops just kind of raced in and tried their best to save everyone, and
that's good. But
it's just like dramatically different than the Uvalde stuff.
That Uvalde thing is so disgusting on so many levels.
Yeah. I mean, it's
way more
crazy.
Way more people were killed at that one. We're not making comparisons. It's like, this was a horrible thing. And again, it's just going to keep happening. But the thing that about this one that's different from other gun shootings, well, so what happens when there's a school shooting or some kind of tragedy or whatever? It's the same argument all the time. We should do something about guns.
Yeah.
I think everyone should own a gun. I think it's your right. I have a 90-pound girlfriend I have to protect in my house, and I need an AR-15 or a tank. The only way to stop a criminal,
I need a T1 tank.
Is a T-800 from Terminator, the original exoskeleton of Terminator. Now, like you get the same stupid conversation, it never goes anywhere. You get the same dumbass conversation. Republicans, this is why we should arm the teachers.
Yeah,
we need more cops in the school. We need more this. We need more that. It's never like, hey,
zero tolerance.
I have an idea. Maybe we should make it a little harder for people to be able to acquire, to get weapons.
Yeah,
like registration across the board. all over the country. No, you have to be registered. You have to take a class. You have to collect course. You have to have a background check, a psychological check. You have to have all these things. You know, the funny thing is they always say, and then the other thing the right wing will always bring up is mental health. Like, oh, we need to do some mental health. And it's bullshit because it's like, well, what do you mean? You guys want to like gut any type of like healthcare? You want to make it harder for people to get anything? And then on top of it, most of the time these right wing personalities talk about how bad mental health is. Like, don't joke, like you're weak if you need, like you're a weak person if you have feelings. Or the other thing they do is they talk, now's not the time to be political. Now's not the time to talk about this.
That's the worst.
Fuck, it happens all the time. And I guess we're just not allowed to talk about it, is what you're saying. You know, this isn't like some one thing. And then the other thing, so I posted my artwork again of it, and I had some people leave a comment, and one of them bullshit I saw foaming around was, this never happened until 1999. And I was like,
okay.
And that's a lie. There's been mass shootings before Columbine.
Yeah.
Columbine was just like the first really, really bad one that like
got a hold of public attention.
But the thing is that, you know, after the Columbine, it's not like this shit happened every week.
Right.
It was like there were a couple really nasty ones throughout. There was like Virginia Tech. There was a couple others like, but it wasn't until like after 2004 when George W. Bush and the Republicans let the assault rifles ban sunset. Motherfucker said in 2000 election that he would make sure that that it would get renewed in 2004.
Yeah.
Well, this law should never have been sunset. This law should have been put through and forever. And ever since then, the numbers have gone up. There's more and more of these type of events because the access to these type of weapons is higher and higher every time. You know, it's like funny, like the right will always say, well, what about like more people are killed with like handguns? And then like, this is the fucked up thing. You know what one of the highest death rates when it comes to handguns? You know what it is?
Yeah.
Suicide.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
That's why the rate is higher for handgun deaths, because a lot of people that own them use it to blow their brains out.
Yeah, and that's primarily a male phenomenon. You know, in
women don't do that.
Realm. I'm sorry.
Women don't do that.
Less likely to. They're more likely to do pills or something.
Yeah. A feminine touch to it,
right?
No. Yeah, so there was that. But then the one thing that came out, and this made the right wing super giddy, was that the person who did it was a trans man.
Right, yeah.
And all kinds of crazy shit came out, all kinds of awful stuff. And they do it once to distract and to change the argument. Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who freaking did it. No one should have access to these fucking weapons.
Right.
That's just a fact. So this person does, you know, it's found out this person, I guess, did this person attend the school?
From what I understood, she attended the school way back in the day, but hadn't for years. And she kept in touch with people, friends of hers that she met at that school.
Why did they go there then?
Well, when you're that age, your parents make you go there. I mean, your parents.
I meant, why did they go there now? Like, what?
Oh,
like, weren't they like 28 years old or something like that?
They were 28. Here's what I think, and I've read a decent amount about it. I haven't seen anyone else really speculate on this. One of the kids that was killed was the pastor's daughter.
Yeesh. And
she killed the pastor's daughter and the headmaster of the school. So my mind immediately went to them, the school or something, either overtly or covertly did something to her back when she was going there.
Supposedly that is the story going around. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea, but that's where my head
doesn't
went.
Validate all these murders, but the reality is, again, what's happened. So the right's pushing all these memes. Donald Trump Jr. is putting out this meme showing like 4 incidents of mass shootings.
Yep.
And making it sound like that the only people doing mass shootings are clearly trans people. First of all, The first one was that Chud in Colorado Springs, who the Chud, after killing him, and the
Yeah.
shitty lawyers that he had claimed that he was non-binary, wanted to get, it was just like a trolling. It's like, what a piece of shit. It's like, you fucking killed like a whole ton of people, and then you're arrested, and you're like, I'm gonna claim I'm non-binary. It's like, this
Yeah.
guy, like that, it's so gross. So Donald Trump Jr. is already claiming that. That's stupid. That's not
Mhm.
true. And then again, it's like, okay, and then the other one's like, there's thousands of mass shootings this year, and we're not even into April yet.
God,
And you're
yeah.
telling me that 2, 3 out of the, I don't know, maybe I'm being wrong, hundreds or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number. It's a small ass fraction. You know, they're trying to, I guess, see all these like right wing, like typical personalities saying things about trans or LGBT people, like posting videos of like a trans person like showing their AR-15. You're like, aren't you supposed to be like saluting them? I mean, like, I thought you guys were like
Right.
the 2A people. Like, what happened to the right to bear arms? This person doesn't have the right to bear arms. You know, they're just defending themselves. Like, I thought that was the case.
It was real strange because the right wing's whole argument for bearing guns in public has been based on the idea that, hey, the government may someday come after you. And then the minute they get a modicum of power in the government, they start dive bombing and looking for these, I don't know. It was something.
Okay.
it seems like they just circle back on themselves. The logic goes over and over again, back and forth on them. And they do it intentionally. They do it because it impedes any progress on the topic.
Yeah. Of course, because now we're talking about this, and we're not talking about the fact that like we should just ban assault weapons.
Yeah, and all
like,
I mean, like,
there's a video of that person just shooting the windows down, getting into the school.
Crazy, yeah. Well, the Republicans too, or I say this because not all Republicans even do this, but sometimes they'll bring up good secondary points, like, well, we need mental health programs, or we need anti-bullying programs, or whatever. Sure, we can also use those. Those sound like great ideas, but they sound like great ideas to do after you've had an assault weapons ban, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Let's do the assault weapons ban, and then we can, you know, there's still a lot of guns out there. We need to still like kind of, you know. But the thing is that here's the other joke too. They always talk about mental health. They said that like most of the times these shootings and stuff, a lot of times there is no record of any of these people having mental health problems.
Yeah.
There's no record of that. And anyone that has like severe mental health, they're usually like pretty harmless. And the only people that they're harmful is usually themselves.
Yeah.
Like, well, because they have like they can't function or whatever, because they have actual mental health problems. And maybe they're harmful for like, I don't know, their parents or whatever, their significant loved ones, and not in like I'm gonna pull a gun out, but more just
sure.
Like, I don't know. But they do this all the time. And they said that like there's no proof that like the majority of these people that do all these shootings are even mentally ill to begin with. It's like their motives are always something that we think it's crazy, but I guess from like a clinical, they're not mentally insane. Like they're just, you know, there's different like crazy people have crazy ideas, but they're not technically not mentally ill.
Yeah. And it's weird. I mean, like, to be perfectly fair, I mean, like this stuff is difficult to predict. Like, two people could both go into a clinic complaining of very similar symptoms, and then a week later they act very differently. You know, I mean, that could happen, which kind of circles back around to why all that mental health stuff is good, all school safety stuff is good, but like it all comes back to pumping the brakes on assault rifles.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like that's it. Like we should. It's just going to keep getting worse. The more people are able to acquire these weapons, the worse it's going to get. That's just a fact. There's not this utopian society where everyone has a gun. That's bullshit. And the thing is, I love it. They're, you know, still to this day, they're right wing immediately. We need to arm the teachers. No, a teacher should not have a weapon. And even if they did have a weapon, that still might not stop anybody.
Yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, like, you're going to take a shot in the middle of a classroom? I mean, it's just crazy.
Like a teacher shouldn't have to deal with it. Their job's already difficult enough as it is. They shouldn't have to be forced to fucking be the Lone Ranger in the fucking classroom. It's so stupid. And then again, from a legal standpoint, they shouldn't be allowed to have it because I can imagine there's all kinds of things that can happen. Wrong kid gets shot. It's like, okay, is the teacher liable for these things? We have this. It's a stupid argument. Anyone that brings that up as a suggestion should not be taken seriously because I bet you they have nothing to back it up. They just do it so that you hope that they can just walk away and you don't say anything.
Yeah.
They don't want to be held. Like there was a great video of Bowman. Is that his name? Jamal Bowman. He's a congressman from. Do you know what state he's from?
I thought it was from New York. No.
Okay. Well, he's like freaking out. I would play the video, but and he's just like saying, bringing up about the guns and what we should do. And then that Thomas Massey guy shows up, this asshole, and says that we should like arm the teachers. And he's like, what are you, nuts? He's like, first of all, I've been a teacher for like 20 years or something like that. And Massey, of course, is trying to like dismiss him and everything like that. Massey is one of those assholes that posts pictures of his family and everyone's holding like these really expensive AR-15s. So like, this guy's a piece of shit. Ted Cruz tried to do some concern trolling thing where he was like, well, what happened in Nashville or whatever was disgusting and thoughts are not enough. You're like, oh, okay. You recognize the thoughts. Right. Where's this going? That's why we need more security. It's like, I mean, like, of course, Ted Cruz is not going to say, he supposedly, out of all the politicians, he's one of the ones that takes the most money from the NRA. So never going to fucking change his mind on this, ever. I said, like, honestly, the real fucking solution to this, it's not a quick fix, but man, election days and shit. I posted, I said, this will never end. The USA has been drained of its empathy decades ago, because Sandy Hook. So mass shootings will forever be part of our lives. The argument is pointless if the person you're talking to can't see beyond their guns. All we could do is elect officials not on the take of a gun lobby. That's it. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but like, if the politician and they're like pro-gun and they're part of the gun lobby, you can't vote for them.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that like Americans, for the most part, could have any laws they want. They could have laws to protect them against gun violence. They could have laws that outlaw machine guns or assault rifles or whatever. But you gotta vote, and B, you gotta like prioritize the things that are important to you. I mean, if ending gun violence is important to you, then you look to that issue and vote accordingly.
And the joke is that, not joke, but the majority of people the politician that will vote to end gun violence or whatever it is, they're more likely going to be also like pro-union, pro healthcare, like that's the truth. Like they're more likely going to be those categories than the person pro-gun, who's probably also going to be anti-choice, pro-school voucher bullshit, anti-environment. Like that's just a fact. But like the reality is that there's no communicating with people like Thomas Massey or Steve Scalise. They're part of the gun lobby. They're not going to budge. Steve Scalise, who's the what is he? The minority, not the minority. He's like second in command to
Kevin McCarthy.
That guy had the whole side of his body blown out by an he was playing like congressional baseball and some nut showed up and literally blew like his whole side of his body out.
Yeah.
Guy's like probably I think needs a colostomy bag, supposedly.
Okay.
Like the guy, like the guy's like probably got permanent damage.
He's probably still got bullets in him.
Yeah. This fucking guy has not budged on guns. If anything, he's
doubled down.
Wants to loosen them even more. And why is that? Because he is bought and paid for by the gun lobby.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to convince them. You're never going to be able to budge. All you can do is vote them out. And as some asshole left some comment like I've seen this like cynical bullshit where, because it was like in the 2020 election, like, what could he do? Vote. And it's like, they use that as like making fun of it. Like, like this, what would stop this explosion? Voting, like, and
Yeah.
it's like a cynical outlook. But I read, I'm like, yes, voting is the solution here. Getting rid of, we don't make laws. We can start a group like whatever. There's like an anti-gun mom group, and we could try to be influential and try to like.
Yeah, sure.
But that is not the solution. That will help, but that is not a solution. The real solution is making sure pro-gun, NRA-backed politicians are kicked out of office.
Yeah.
That is the only way we're ever going to get any kind of gun reform. They have proven they don't give a shit. Babies' heads were blown off. They don't care. My favorite is Josh Hawley was trying to have this be like a hate crime because the person shot like a Christian school. They're trying to play bullshit. Like
a victim. Yeah.
Like, how is this a hate crime? Like, it's so stupid. I can't take these people. Like, it's all like this one. I knew it was going to be messy because it came out the person was trans, and they're going to do that with everyone. I mean, there was like a shooting last year, like a really bad one, and they immediately tried to claim the person was trans. They're not at all. Person was not at all. If anything, they were like a 4chan troll, Trump loving 4chan troll. Like, but the right's going to do this all the time now. Anytime there's a mass shooting, they're going to claim that the person was trans or whatever.
Yeah, or look for some evidence that they were at one point. I don't know. It's predictable and depressing.
But I really think that's just the truth. Like someone will say, "Oh, that's too simple." Yeah, it is. You vote these fuckers out.
Yeah, that part's not that hard. I mean, I get that you have to like research the candidates and make a plan to vote and stuff, but come on, I mean,
you get your money from the gun lobby.
Right, yeah.
No. What's your take on guns? Well, I'm fine with someone having like like a rifle in their house or whatever, but I think that the AR-15s has gotten that hand. All right, good. Yeah. You're in, buddy. Like, there's not a lot here. Like,
yeah.
It's like, this is simple. That person is in bed with the gun lobby. They're basically a gun lobbyist. It's like how what's Abbott is basically just an oil lobbyist.
Yeah, for sure.
He's just an oil lobbyist. He's not really a governor. He's not really like like he is, but like
only in like a
he serves the oil lobby. He serves the oil industry. It's like how certain politicians serve the gun lobby, the gun industry. They're not going to budge. It doesn't matter what happens. Even if their own kids are killed, they don't care. They're not going to change.
They adapt to that pretty quickly.
That the myth of the Republican, like we said, make jokes like, "Oh, you want something to happen? Give them one of them AIDS, and all of a sudden they'll care about AIDS." Yeah. That day is gone. They don't care. They don't give a shit. Their whole family can be mowed down by guns. And the best was fucking what's her face. I love this fucking bitch, Shaney, who's not.
Liz Cheney.
She's like, we need to do something about this. It's like, bitch, you were 100% for guns.
Yeah, you were in power too.
And now you're out of power. So now you could say like your shit so you can get on MSNBC. Like, what the fuck? You were in power for decades.
Yeah, a long time.
And you used your power to make sure that the access to guns was easier. You can't like all of a sudden claim you found Jesus. That's bullshit. No. I hate those people. I can't I'm so sick of any of these like this former George W. Bush speechwriter said he doesn't like Trump. Okay, he still worked for fucking Bush. Like, who gives a shit? You still suck.
But it's like
take your word for it. What?
It's like a People magazine version of it,
Well, no, it's like they're trying to like profit off of it because they know all they have to do now is come out and say like, I didn't like that guy anyway, and all of a sudden they have a book. They get a book deal, and then a bunch of morons that on like more liberal leaning people like will buy their book. I'm so tired. Like it is never going to end. The reality is, we got to vote these motherfuckers out. And if anyone in the media, anyone in left leaning media says like, they're okay with a candidate who's pro-gun
Yeah.
like that. Red flag. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to do something about the gun problem, the real solution is voting. It's that fucking simple. It's not an immediate fix. It's not an election until 2024.
It takes time, though.
Let's say something happens in the House, Dems take back the House, even by like 2 seats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not a fix right away, but I think it will happen over time if people just accept the fact that, like, you know, it's like in Florida when we see that, like, those polls of like things people want, and it's all these like progressive things, and they always vote for people like DeSantis, and you're like,
it is crazy. They want high-speed rail and another term for Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, it's like there's a cognitive disconnect there. It's like I don't know, like, hey, you know that guy you voted in? Guess what? He wanted to like make sure kids can't eat.
Right.
Like, no way, that's not true. That's a liberal lie. It's like you can't. That's insane.
It is. It just feels like an echo chamber, you know.
Yeah. Well, I also what else did I post about this? I saw one other thing. Oh, this fucking guy. Do you know who this guy is? This piece of shit from
yeah. That's Matt Walsh, isn't it? Oh no, that's the guy from Tennessee. The guy who said that we can't do anything about it. But like the day before, he was talking about how they wanted to.
Well, he's talking. You're talking.
About the Japanese, and he told me, he said, "Buddy," he said,
all right. Yeah, he says we're not going to fix anything. What's his name?
Yeah. It's like Tim Burchett or something.
And I think this asshole has photos of him with his family holding guns.
Oh yeah.
We're not going to do anything about it. I was like, resign, you useless fuck. Yeah. Resign. What do you mean? Someone will. Why don't you vacate your position? We'll put someone else in there that cares, and we'll do something about it.
Yeah.
It's like, and again, it's that Onion article that just nails it perfectly. The Onion, where it says like the thing that happens only here or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
We can fix, but refuse to. It's like, it's that fucking simple. You ban assault weapons. That's it. You just ban them. None of this bullshit. Yeah. No one needs to have fucking weapons. There's no reason. If somebody broke into your house and you had an AR-15, the joke is you would probably end up destroying your whole entire house by shooting up 4 rooms, probably killing the dog or the cat.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like, it's a fucking AR-15. It's not meant. That's what shotguns are for and handguns are for. Like, it is so stupid. Like, the idea that anyone needs these weapons.
Yeah.
There's no reason. I don't care.
We're to the point where there's like 3 for every human on Earth, and the number's growing.
What are you doing with these weapons? Why do you need them for?
Yeah.
Like, what are they for? Oh, you're a collector? Okay, did you strip them so like they're not functional? No, you're hoarding on arsenal for nefarious reasons. Like, what are you doing with these? What do you plan on doing? Like, it's insane. This is not good for society in the long. I mean, it clearly isn't. We're living it.
It just stunts the growth of society.
Yeah. That's how you look at all these things. Like, like out of control healthcare costs. That, like, what did you just say? What? What to society?
It just like it deadens society. Just like
drags. No, you said the growth. What is it?
Oh, it stunts the growth. It stunts the growth of society.
It's like the same thing with like, out of control healthcare costs. It stunts the growth of our economy. It stunts the growth of like everything. It's like,
I don't know. It's just, I get people being done talking about it because it's I don't see even people willing to negotiate small points anymore. Like no Democrats years ago stopped talking about reasonably aggressive gun control. All the Democrats are asking for these days is a pretty stripped down, watered down version of gun control. I
mean, like, you need to be registered. You need to take a psychological evaluation. You need to wait a week. You need to wait a week until you have the weapon. Maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe a month. an extensive background check. Gun shows, can't buy it. You can't come home with a gun that day.
Honestly, they could
one.
probably tighten up the waiting period to like within 24 hours. I mean, because that's probably enough for the person to calm down if it was truly a crime of passion.
That's not enough.
Well, I'm just saying, like, back when people talked about like a lengthier waiting period, computer programs or computer systems probably took a little longer to find background information. I'll bet you they can do it really quick now.
They can find it in like 5 minutes if they go to the right places.
I'm just saying, like, it used to be harder to find stuff, maybe some records.
You wait a week just because it's like, it's a good test of like, clearly you're a normal person. It doesn't have this big boy gun in front of you right this second. So you could wait a week.
I don't know. It just seems like there's no point in even asking the question because no one on the other side is going to consider it.
What's that guy's name again? The one from Florida, Donnell Rolling. What is his name?
Are you talking about the guy from Tennessee, Birch?
No, this dude. Okay.
Oh, Byron Daniels.
Yeah, this is great too. This fucking guy. This is the video I was talking about.
If you're going to talk about the AR-15, you're talking politics now. Let's not get into politics. Let's not get into emotion because emotion feels good, but emotion doesn't solve problems.
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah. Who needs empathy or feelings? Who needs that?
Talking about?
Insufferable empathy and humanity.
Well, and if that doesn't solve problems, then what does, Byron? Like, what do you?
Nothing.
What do you see?
Keep buying guns. Yeah. That's the problem. So,
yeah.
Well, here we go. There's you know what? People are going to play that game. The access to weapons are going to be fine, and then the right's freaking out that they're seeing like a trans person. That this video I saw going around, this trans person like basically like assembling an AR-15. Why are they not allowed to do it? Like, or the fact that like when these like drag queen story hour things where they're getting like violently attacked by Proud Boys, other lunatics that show up to these things, and now a lot of groups have come out, pro LGBT groups or LGBT groups have showed up to help guard these things, and they have fucking weapons.
Yeah,
they got weapons too. You know why? Because this is a free country, supposedly, and we all have the right to bear arms. So guess what? This is the game this is the game they created. These people are playing the game with them, and they're freaking out when they're not winning the game in any way. These motherfuckers show up to these things, they try to like cause violence, and then all of a sudden they see like some dude with like a pride flag emblem on, and they're heavily armored, and they're holding an AR-15. They're scared out of their fucking mind. They're like, this is not how it's supposed to be. They're supposed to be like a fey dainty person in a dress, with glitter, like that I could stomp on. And that's not their reality anymore. So I love seeing that, but I also don't like where things are going.
Yeah,
I'm glad they're defending themselves and they're arming themselves, but that's not.
But I don't want that either. I mean, like ideally, like let's say they're doing a drag brunch or whatever, in a downtown event. I don't want to see any people with like assault rifles. I mean, I'd rather see people protecting the drag event with rifles. That'd be my preference of the two. But even then, I'm like, I fucking just want to come down here and have some coffee. Like, I don't want to have to deal with.
It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be that way. But the right has turned it into part of their agenda.
Yeah. So I think they have to start doing that in the short term, but ideally they won't have to do it for long because I don't like that either. So
yeah. So that Byron Daniels guy though, what a shithead. Oh, that's making it political. It's like,
yeah.
What?
He's real bad. He's real bad, and his wife is real bad, and he's a gosh.
Like, oh, you're taking with emotion. Like, I love that. I've heard that. That is straight out of the NRA.
Yeah.
Right out of the NRA script book. They say that, like, the problem is you're being emotional. It's like, I just saw 20 people die.
Right. Of course. Yeah. That's a good time to be emotional.
Yeah. I think if there's a time to be emotional, it's this one. The fact that you're not phased at all in any way makes me
troubling.
Concerned.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but again, it's like the same thing. These people are never going to budge. There is no reasoning with them. You're never going to meet them in the middle. You're not even going to meet them 3/4.
Well, yeah, and you
You
posted
do.
this today, and I've seen other people post it. That is ultimately it. You just need to vote them out. And if
Yeah.
it's important to you, then maybe this needs to be one of those one issue. You need to be a one issue voter on it.
Well, like
you
I
know?
said, the politicians that tend to be more pro, pro gun reform, there's a good chance they're probably also going to be for expanding Medicare and
Yeah.
healthcare, and they're going to be definitely probably better on the environment. That's just a fact. It unlike the anti-choice, people. Most people. There's a lot of people just vote because they hate abortion. And it just happens to be that like 99% of all those politicians happen to have horrible politics.
Yeah.
But the good news on the left is most people who tend to be, pro-gun reform, anti-guns or whatever, their politics usually align for you. Like they don't. It's very rare that they're like, also anti-choice.
It's hardly ever the case.
Yeah. That's just a fact. All right. Well, I mean, speaking of crazy things.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Well,
Trump had his rally in Waco, Texas.
Yeah, we thought he was getting arrested, but I think this was just wasn't it a joke in the end of the day? Wasn't Trump the one who basically announced that he was being arrested?
He was the only source. And then they started talking about it and everything seemed logical, but there's no source other than Trump that said it was going to happen,
I think that I think it served two purposes. One, he probably figured he was going to get arrested. He was freaking out. He wanted to stir up his base, get all the nuts to come out and defend him. They wanted to see all the they were like rallies, stuff like that. He, promises of a second January 6th. I think it's ego for him too. He loves it. He wants to see carnage. He wants to see people die in his name. It's like the most ultimate ego boost. And, he had that rally coming up in Waco, Texas. And it's just so fucking funny, this guy. It's like Waco's fame. And it was on the anniversary of like the government basically coming in and sieging from David Koresh.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that was literally the anniversary. Jeez. What the fuck? Like, what kind of messaging is that? That's so weird. That is not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. You picked Waco, Texas, of all places. People think you're a cult leader because you kind of are.
Yep.
And you picked the date that involved like the government intervention of a horrible, like the people in Waco, dude. Like that guy was like raping 12-year-olds. Like I saw like a thing about it. Like they said that like
it was what was that? This was the guy's last name Steed?
David Koresh.
Well, Koresh, but wasn't there another one there, Steed? Well, anyway,
there's a new.
Yeah, I saw that
on Netflix. I might watch it. We'll see, but
David Koresh always reminds me of Randall Flagg from The Stand. Like, even just like the way he looks. Like, I know that
it's like a Charles Manson type almost in a way too. Yeah. Kind of hippie-ish sounding.
Yep.
It's not funny with hippies. People always think like hippies are like peace and love. That's not always the case.
Not always the case.
These are like cultists. They're fucking like they tend to like be like, they're all like cult leaders. They're usually misogynist as fuck. Like all kinds of shit. There's like anything they're more close to the libertarianism than you think.
Probably.
So I'll tell you this though. I'm sorry, but watching this and seeing the people that are being interviewed and stuff, did you see any of this stuff there?
Yeah, I saw stuff on YouTube and stuff like that.
See that big goony lady dressed up in like an Captain America outfit with dyed like white hair?
Yeah.
All right. She went to jail for 6 months in January 6th, and now she's there.
Yeah. Don't these people have parole officers or something? I mean,
I don't know. So a lot of these people. It's like a lot of these people are like psychopaths. They're all like bizarre people. They're all freaks. I'm sorry. Anyone that's showing these videos, it's like this is fine. Trump can show up to Waco, Texas and get a couple thousand lunatics to show up. That doesn't mean he's a viable candidate and that people are going to vote for him. He's a fringe act at this point. You know what I mean? Kid Rock plays at a place. He's going to probably sell out at the place that he's playing at. But that doesn't mean that he's gonna win a Grammy and he's
right. Yeah, it's
and he's just
there's a
he's got
market for
niche-
it.
He has a niche audience that will go see his shows. That's just
Yeah.
the way it is. And I think that's what Trump is. It's like, and he's been like that for years. He's got his weird niche following that go to all his shows, like the Grateful Dead had.
Yep. Yeah. Basically a lot like that.
And a little more violent.
Sure.
So
yeah. No, it is. It is just a collection of really extreme people that are searching for something, and you can probably include Trump in that too. And it does have a very hippie kind of Grateful Dead vibe, except it's more violent and racist, I would say.
Well, it's so weird. It's so fucking. Oh, that was the best too. So Marchdale Green comes on stage and of course talking about like January 6th and like
Yeah.
how poorly. So they're trying to push this narrative, trying to sell the January 6th people as if they're like soldiers of fortune, like POWs, and they're being
mistreated.
Did you hear about that one congresswoman from Texas that showed up a Democrat? She went there to show, and she's like, I forgot her name. I could find I could find what she said. It's pretty amazing.
Well, she's right. She was saying basically like these people have it better than anyone in any jail in Texas.
Yeah.
They have access to FaceTime and cell phones. She said they were like kind of like hanging out in a common area. It's not like
they have their own cells. She says they have their own cells. That is like a privilege that no one has.
Yeah. And that's like, I don't know. I mean, that's frustrating in a lot of ways. I mean, I guess it's good to know that I guess it's good to know that they aren't being mistreated. I mean, I don't want them like mistreated. I just want them to.
Well, they're prisoners.
Get their do their time.
But like I said, Marchdale Green's going around trying to push this bullshit, saying that like, oh, they're being treated so horribly. These people are suffering so much, and this lady's like goes there and like destroys Marchdale Green's narrative, and it's like these people get to like do their little prayers at night, and they get access to like media and shit, and they have their own cells. They're treated there, and they're in like their own section of the jail too, like a newer section. So it's just like as disgusting. Let me see if I can.
Do you have the clip?
I'm finding it.
It is pretty frustrating.
See if I can find her name.
Yeah, I forget her name. I know she was surprisingly from Texas.
Jasmine Crockett. That's it.
Okay, sure.
And I'm going to look up the video on Twitter.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene went, and didn't Matt Gaetz go? Like the right sent just like a clown car.
Yeah, it's like.
They only really wanted to get to the January 6ers. That's all they really cared about. They didn't care about the people that are consistently being incarcerated here and the treatment that they get. These people are in single cells. Have y'all ever watched any movies, right? When people go to jail, what happens? They're in what we call general population, right? Like there's a group of people. They have their own cells. They have access to laptops and tablets. I mean, it's unlike anything that I've ever seen. And like I said, coming out of Texas, I have seen so much worse. They even have, it's two kind of separate facilities. The facility the January 6ers are in, that is the newest facility that they have. That facility was built in the 90s. Members that only.
I mean, like, at the end of the day, they're still prisoners and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The reality is that whatever narrative Marchdale Green and the right wing are trying to push, it's complete bullshit.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, too, is that, like, none of these motherfuckers that are going to go to jail, it's like they're part of the cult. I would say probably the majority of these people are not going to learn, and they're going to go right back into it, and they're going to be released and be ready to do 2025, January 6th. Because all these two, you get Marjorie Taylor Greene and all Trump and everything. They're like treating them like as if they're like, it's like the joke is, remember when we hear about like after 9/11 and we hear about like all the bullshit, like the Taliban tells people that like you'll get 100 virgins and if you kill yourself, you'll be rewarded. And I don't know what the word for heaven is. It's like they have a different word for heaven and
sure,
whatever. And you would hear that and you'd be like, oh, these people are nuts. But it's kind of like what's going on here.
Yeah, it's real similar.
It's not far off. Like,
well, the J6ers are like, none of them are like casual Trump fans. Like they're all like pretty unhinged from reality. They all converged in Washington, D.C. from all over the country specifically to overthrow the will of the people.
Well, speaking of that, there was that girl, Riley.
What
was Riley? What's her name? Riley.
I forget her last name, but she was
That's all they really care.
She was the one who stole Pelosi's laptop.
She finally got sentenced.
Yeah.
And she only got 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was on the low end. I thought she'd get like 5.
Riley June Williams. She's only 24. So that means she was like 21 when this all happened.
Yeah.
24. She was sentenced to 3 years. But I'm surprised she only got that. I'm amazed that she got anything, to be honest. But I'm shocked that she was found guilty of all these things and she only got 3 years. I find that crazy. She should have
I guess the jury deadlocked on some of the more serious charges. And I think
I'm just shocked she wasn't charged for sedition.
Yeah, something. Stealing
because she literally stole the Speaker of the House's laptop and tried selling it to a foreign adversary. Like, you're a fucking traitor at this point. Like, that's the kind of shit that the
Rose Garden.
Rose Garden? What?
What are you talking about? You're talking about the
Rosenbergs or whatever they're called, the people that were killed in the 50s or 60s by
I thought you were talking about the group of people that tried to enter the Rose Garden in the White House.
No, I'm talking about there's 2 people that were found to be like communists and they were traitors.
Yeah, the Rosenbergs or Rosenbergs,
something like that. They were like Roy Cohn and everything like that, and they were executed. They were killed. The kids are still alive today.
I know, it's real sad.
Story. What?
It's real sad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they didn't get more harsher sentences. Like I said,
this girl is not some like tragic figure. She's a fucking groiper. There's videos of her like saluting Hitler and shit. Like she's probably like that Nick Fuentes crap.
Yeah, she was real into that.
She's a fucking Nazi, dude. Like this isn't some like, oh, this poor girl, she got sucked in. It's like, no, she was rotten already.
Yeah. Yeah. It was weird.
She's not gonna learn anything. 3 years. Bullshit.
No. These are extreme people. They're extreme people. They have like some weird victim mentality.
They're fighting some like weird war that exists in their own fucking mind.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I mean, it is really that. The one realtor from around here, the one who said she's not going to go to jail because she's white. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, the Frisco lady.
Yeah, Frisco realtor.
Fucking chud.
I saw her on Twitter the other day, and she's just complaining about her unfair treatment, how she was railroaded, and how Donald Trump should be in office. I mean, it's just she didn't change a thing. She's just like doubled down.
These people are gonna fucking change. I mean, most people don't change when they go to jail. That's always like the joke. Our jail system sucks. Usually they end up becoming bigger criminals because they meet other criminals and they learn how to do criminal stuff better. Like it's bullshit. We don't actually rehabilitate people. I mean, there are probably some people that do get rehabilitated, but I think it's like unfortunately far and few.
Yeah. It is. I guess I'm not sure this links perfectly, but like all of these people are still Trump supporters, Yeah. This is why Trump is beating DeSantis in the polls like 60 to 25, They're all in on
DeSantis
Trump.
Was always Trump light. That's just a fact.
Yeah. To say it really is kind of weird. Like, I don't think Trump did this intentionally, but DeSantis cannot win. You
He
know,
can't, I don't think he's even going to enter the race. He's losing before he even enters.
he's gonna, if he says the election was stolen from Trump, then it's bullshit that he would run against Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
He should work to elect Trump.
Yeah, what are you doing? Why are you running against the king?
Yeah. And if he says that it wasn't stolen, then all the Trump people will hate him. You know,
Yeah.
there's just like no way for him. No, there's no wiggle room for Ron DeSantis.
Did you see that interview where they asked him about the pudding?
Mm.
And he's like, I didn't eat pudding like that. That's a ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah,
I use my whole fist. I stick my fist in the pudding.
Yeah, that was basically in my mind.
Let me tell you, that fist doesn't go in the mouth.
Yeah.
And then he winks at the camera.
He
It's a little game for pudding.
He's awkward and he's dopey and he's a real shitty person. And Trump is gonna mop the floor up with him.
You ever see the movie Monster Squad?
Gosh, the one from like a million years ago,
like from the 80s. The monsters about the kids, and it's like Wolfman's got nards.
Yeah.
Well, in the end of so in the beginning of the movie, there's like a Van Helsing type character, and they're trying to stop Dracula. This is in the past, and there's a portal, and those people get sucked into the portal, and then like Dracula is like whatever, and then like 100 years pass, right? And that's when the Monster Squad comes in.
Right.
So at the end of the movie, they open up the portal, and Dracula is about to attack them, and the Van Helsing character pulls him into the portal to finish the job. And that's how I picture this. So Santis is like this Dracula character. And I don't want to compliment Trump, say he's like a Van Helsing anyway. He's
right.
Another Dracula. But like, it's like this demonic force is like, nah, buddy, you're coming back in the demon portal with me. You don't get to fucking live on the main realm and do your shit. Like, if I'm in this fucking portal, you're coming with me, buddy.
Yeah, I can say that's a good analogy.
I want it to be like that because, like I said, I'm sorry. Anyone that says that Trump is going to win in 2024 or has a chance of winning or of anything is disingenuous or is not paying attention. Trump is a fucking clown. This is not 2016 anymore.
Right. People saw him.
We have 4 years of record of this man as president. Like. I'm sorry, it ain't gonna happen. The guy is a clown.
Yeah, if Trump starts moving closer to the nomination, I would imagine you're going to see a lot of old school Republicans trying to play in Democratic politics. You know what I mean? Like they're going to try to find if can we get a better candidate than Biden?
Yeah, I don't want to hear that either. I feel like unfortunately it's Biden. We don't have a candidate right now. There's no candidate. There's no I don't
have a problem with Biden.
What?
I don't have a problem with Biden.
No, I'm not saying you do. I'm saying that I don't think that's going to help either. It's just a bunch of like.
Oh yeah. No, I think I agree. I think it'd be harmful.
Grifters. It's just grifters.
Yeah, I think it'd be harmful. I think the one hiccup here, for me would be like. I know I'm going off topic here, but like Biden hasn't produced a crop of like stars to take over the Democratic Party. Clinton nominated a bunch of people to his cabinet in different positions that went on to become leaders in the Democratic Party. And then Obama did that too. You know, he got a bunch of people that later on went on to become leaders. And I don't see Biden doing that. I mean, maybe he's just busy doing the job, which is fine, but
I don't know. I mean, it's still only a couple of years into his presidency. I don't know. I don't know what you expect. I mean, I would imagine they would think Pete Buttigieg is, but I just don't think that guy's got the juice. And then what's her face, man? You don't even see her. It's like she's doesn't even exist.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true of most vice presidents, but
I mean, I guess you heard Biden all the time because he would make all those gaffes during the Obama years, but they were funny and harmless. I felt like they tried so hard to make him out to be Bush or something, and it was his are just silly and goofy, and he just sounds like an old man, you know. It's it wasn't. I'm not trying to downplay it. I'm saying it was just he'd get a lot of attention because he would always say something,
I think too that like they played up Biden when Obama was president because at the time they thought Biden would make everyone more comfortable with the thought of Obama being president. You know what I mean? Like
you're saying because the country's built with a bunch of fucking racists.
Yeah, and especially like older people, like older people are a big, large constituency and they vote and they're usually hella racist. And so like having Biden there front and center kind of reminded them like, oh, well, there's still, someone in the White House.
Oh, there's an old white man. Oh, I feel so much better now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well,
I
I don't know.
yeah.
So we were supposed to get these we were supposed to have Trump on trial this week and then last week, and none of that ever happened. And now
I don't think that's ever happening, dude. I don't know. I think people got like excited. It sounded like a bunch of bullshit. We all were hoping for it. And I knew once Monday hit and nothing happened, or it was like Monday or Tuesday. I think it was supposed to be Tuesday, right?
Well, it was supposed to be last Tuesday.
Well, if it was New York, he would have been arrested at like early in the morning. And by where I live, 2 hours behind New York, I would have known waking up that day that Trump was arrested. And that didn't happen, and I knew it wasn't going to happen at all. And then the fact that he got to go to Waco and give his like, you just listen to his speeches. First of all, like the fact that like anyone even likes this guy blows my mind. All he does is complain, saying like he won the election. It's like
it's gotten old,
so boring.
Yeah,
I think a lot of these people that go to these things are just like. A lot of them are grifters. I think a lot of them are part of like multi-level marketing schemes. Trump is like the ultimate multi-level marketing scheme.
For sure.
And I think a lot of, they're all like crypto schemers and like all kinds of like, self-help bullshit and like, just a lot of like, just people, like everyone that attends there. It's like, it's almost like a not a job fair, but like, there's like goop or something. It's just goop. Trump's just goop. That's all it is.
Well, I think there's a big overlap between Trump and churchgoers, right? Like,
I mean, the whole QAnon thing and everything was all like, this is pushing old timey religious bullshit that like.
I just think a lot of them are used to and comfortable with that shtick, like a repeat.
But I mean, I feel like a lot of the core people that go to these things. They're all trying to sell something, and they're all like I said, like Trump's the big fish, and all these other people are like Amoras or something, and right? Is that it? The little fish, fight a whale's back.
It's
like the same people who are like Elon stands and shit. A lot of people are all trying to like, they're all like little mini moguls. They're all like trying to like, they're all trying to get rich or whatever. And like it's all scam artists. So like
it is kind of that prosperity gospel type of stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
you saw that video I showed you, right? With Joe Rogan, where he claims he works super hard and that's why and everyone else is a loser.
Yeah.
Because no one works as hard as him.
Yeah. Right. That's a big pill to swallow.
It's a lot of hard work to smoke, do a lot of drugs. Work out and then have to like talk to Ben Shapiro for 3 hours or Candace Owens. I mean, I can imagine that could be probably draining to the soul.
It would, it would be.
I don't know if he enjoys it or not. But I'll tell you, like I said, I've seen some. And I haven't watched his show in years, but I've seen the Mad episodes. And my favorite was when Rogan would have. That's why I'm like, I think it's bullshit. I think he's like a puppet for like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. He's just like repeats their gospel and shit like that. And he usually has a lot of certain people on. And I feel like a lot of these people, they all come from like the intellectual dark web or whatever, like Jordan Peterson. And they're all pushed by people like Peter Thiel. And one of the ones he would have on sometimes is Barry Weiss.
Oh,
I'd watch these interviews and I'd be like, he does not want to talk to this woman at all. He is so disinterested in everything this woman is saying. He's just like, like you could tell, like someone forced him to have her on. Because I watched it and he had her on again. I was like, no fucking way he wanted her on again.
Right. A second,
Like he is bored out of his mind. I don't know. He sucks. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
speaking of, okay, so what's next? Oh, the TikTok hearings, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That.
Okay, go ahead. What?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything to say. You said you brought up what's the act called that the Republicans are trying to push?
Okay, so right now it's called the Restrict Act. And people just kind of call it the TikTok ban. I thought that one of the weird things is that like I watched a lot of the TikTok hearings. A lot of these older Republicans, and I'll say like maybe some of the Democrats too, but they just didn't open their mouths about it. A lot of them still have no idea how the internet works.
No, they always end up making these like representatives or CEOs of these tech companies. They always make them look good because they always just ask some questions like, "How does Wi-Fi work?" You know, like, they have no clue. I can't get my password. Do you know what it is?
He's like, they don't even ask the questions right. There's the one guy, I think from Louisiana, I think it was Kennedy, was like, does TikTok use my Wi-Fi? And the guy's like kind of consulting his notes. He's like trying to stall to figure out what the fuck he's just said. And he's like, well, if you turn on your Wi-Fi, then yes. And then
that's how the internet works. Buddy.
That's just how it works. Like that's how your Ring doorbell works.
Juice. One internet juice creates 3 TikTok apes or whatever.
I mean, it was just like, and they kept going in circles around these things, like that didn't make sense. I don't know. It definitely was odd to see them kind of flounder around.
Was there seriously one Republican who said something about like how he keeps seeing gay?
I don't know if that was true or not. That felt too.
The TikTok algorithm is pretty like aggressive. Like
yes,
it will like if you look at one thing for more than 30 seconds, there's a good chance the next thing you see will be that too. If it notices you look at a certain thing a couple of times, that will dominate your feed. And if you want to change that, you just gotta look for something else and look for a couple of things. And the algorithm, it shifts pretty quickly. Like,
it's stunning.
Not like the Instagram one or anything, or it's like you looked at this one thing, we're just gonna keep shoving it down your throat. I'm like, I don't want to see this. Why is this on my feed? But like TikTok will assimilate to what your interests are, and it will just keep showing you. It's like I've been looking at a lot of political stuff and cooking stuff. So guess what? I see it all the time.
Yeah. I my whole family has TikTok, and so I'll go on my phone, and it's like you said, it's mostly political stuff, cooking stuff. Every once in a while, I get like comic book stuff or like pop culture stuff. But that's what I see. Like 90, and then when my wife gives me her phone and says, "Hey," she'll say, "Hey, look at this video," and I look at it, and then I'll like, it's hentai, all tentacle hentai.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, listen, people are into what they're into,
But no, it's like
support your wife's love of hentai.
It's like animal stuff, like
ew.
Cute baby chick,
right.
It's all like animal stuff.
Cat sitting in a chair.
Right. And then my daughter's is all about like makeup and fashion and stuff like that. But like whenever any one of us sends another person a video and we look at it, then
it'll shift your rate.
So quickly.
Supposedly this one Republican politician said something about seeing like gay stuff in his feed.
Yeah.
And that was really funny. And I'm like, I don't know how true this story was, but that's like that guy, Benny Johnson, this Republican right-wing guy, kind of like another Steven Crowder type.
Yep.
Benny Johnson, he sucks, this guy. But he was saying something about like they're showing like gay cruise ads or something on his website. And people were like, we're targeted ads.
Right. It's
like it.
Well, if you
really,
I could see like someone's a religious guy spending all his morning Googling trans things in a desperate effort to like, figure out new ways to persecute people. And the end result is his social media thinks he's really into that sort of thing.
Right. So it's possible that Ben Johnson, the reason why he had that is because he's looking up.
He could be like, how can I ostracize? Yeah. How can I make my fellow man feel bad? How can I make other humans feel bad about
Yeah,
themselves?
you gotta feel bad.
Right. And he gets, yeah. So
And
I
hut
don't
soldier.
know.
Giddy up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so what's this act? I mean, what is this thing called?
Well-
Like I saw one guy on TikTok talk about it. It sounds pretty fucking horrible.
yeah, it was it's called is it the Restrict Act? Yeah. And it basically gives them control to like put you in jail if you access forbidden apps. And then
It's
it
beyond TikTok.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
beyond- that's the joke. They're using TikTok as a way to like, as an excuse to like put in some real crazy, like restrictive stuff that's supposed to make the internet good.
Yeah. Well, I know they're going on about VPNs and whatever, and we use a VPN to access my daughter's school stuff. We have to, otherwise we can't get in there. I don't know.
I might have sent you that video with that guy.
You did, yeah.
Now, is that guy legit? Was he on the level?
I think so. I think, is that the one you texted it to me, and I was like, I
Got
don't
the glasses?
understand.
Yeah, here it
Yeah.
is.
There's a lot of it I just didn't understand at the
I've been
time.
reading the new Restrict Act, aka Senate Bill 686, aka the TikTok ban. This is a lot worse than it actually does. You can grab the text yourself from congress.gov, but basically they can't allow themselves to have access to your home network. That's because this bill also covers wireless local area networks, mobile networks, satellite payloads, satellite operations control, cable access points, wireline access points, core networking systems, long, short, and backhaul networks, or edge computer platform. But what does that mean without the gig speak? Everything. Coming into your house beyond the demarcation point. Everything in my house, they have access to with this law. They will also have access to any service with greater than 1 million persons, including internet hosting services, cloud-based or distributed computing and data storage, machine learning, predictive analytics, and data science products and services, managed services, and content delivery service. Oh, wait, desktop applications, mobile applications, gaming applications, payment applications, web-based applications, all of these, it's covered.
Yeah,
Your
that's
Xbox Live, your PlayStation
Okay.
Network, your Nintendo.
I'll stop it. The
well,
guy,
that is basically, if I mean, for
3D. Oh, that's
for my word processor, I use Microsoft 365, which is an online subscription-based word processing thing. And anything I type on any Word document, law enforcement can see,
yeah.
And anything, like if you Google something, if you're in Oklahoma and you're a 17-year-old girl and you're like, where's the nearest abortion provider, trying to figure out where in another state you can go, they can presumably flag those search terms and come get you. I mean, it's real awful. I don't know if it has any chance of passing. I don't know what the odds are. I know they're talking about it. But just the fact that they're talking about it and not being upfront with what it would do is
They're just using TikTok as an excuse to add just ruin it more and more.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, I know a lot of the crypto people are saying that this is like a backwards way to get them. You know what I mean? Like this will put all their stuff out in the sunshine, which they're not fans of.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like with a lot of these things, I heard AOC talking about it, and a lot of this is just like a little above my grasp. I mean, I can kind of get.
I don't really understand it either, but
I get the gist of it. I get the vague contours of it, but like when you start getting into the weeds, I admittedly don't have a ton.
I just assume it's safe to assume that these guys, whenever they get in power and they want to go after something like TikTok, they use that as an excuse. Yeah. It's a Trojan horse. People are gonna, like, the idiots and supporters be like, that's right, I don't like TikTok. They're making the kids transgendered.
Right.
He said on the news the other day, Tucker Carlson said that I trust Tucker Carlson. He's a good egg. He said that they're gonna TikTok made my son gay. TikTok made me gay somehow. I don't, all of a sudden my feed is just filled with army men. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah,
look
right.
at it once or twice, but then the devil TikTok needs to be taken away.
Well,
And then they're like, oh wait, we got this. We'll get rid of the TikTok for you.
yeah.
But we're also gonna do some other shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I go back to what AOC was saying, and she was saying like this was before I really understood the broad outline of it, but she was like, look, if we're gonna have some rules for TikTok, that's probably a good thing. But we should have these rules for all other platforms and all other services too. And we should know what we're talking about. You know, I mean, and those both sound real reasonable. One, this shouldn't be specific to any one company. It should be general to all
Well,
companies.
that's the other thing too, is like, it's like, I bet you the companies that are fully fine with this is Facebook,
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yep.
It's like the government, the buddy, you know, the right wing people in the government or whatever, buddies with like, you know, then like recently, like basically Meta, Facebook, whatever, lobbied, used like a right wing Republican group to basically lobby to get rid of TikTok. I mean,
Yeah.
like, look at Cambridge Analytica and Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, all that shit. Like, Facebook will benefit more from this than anyone else. That's like the joke too. It's not like, oh, the government will have control of these things. No, it's like they're helping their partners out, and it'll help Elon Musk, and then we'll get rid of their competition. You know, it's like that guy with TikTok. You know, he's like, TikTok made my kids not visit me anymore. TikTok made it that my kids don't invite me for Thanksgiving anymore.
Yeah. It wasn't your virulent racism, sir. Was it? Was it?
The TikTok transgender devil told me that.
Right. Yeah. TikTok told me it wouldn't go down unless I touched it.
TikTok said that's why I'm not invited to Thanksgiving anymore, because that TikTok devil.
Yeah, it is weird. It seems like such an odd thing to go after. I know my initial
I don't think it's odd that they're going after it.
Well, my initial take on it was that like TikTok is pretty liberal, and it has
it? I think it's liberal because that's the stuff you see. It's a platform that just hosts things, and all you could hope is that they police it a bit. There's a lot of misinformation that flies on there. I remember in the beginning of COVID, I saw all kinds of crazy videos that were all bullshit.
I think TikTok's liberal in the sense that like Twitter is conservative. Like, of course there's liberal accounts on Twitter and there's conservative accounts on TikTok, but TikTok trends very young, and young people trend very progressive.
I find it interesting because like China is an incredibly restrictive country, and the joke they call them a communist country is a joke. They're like a weird marriage of like capitalism and
a mixed command and free market economy. I mean, they got a little of both.
I will say though, the one thing that the Republicans did a really good job of was making that guy look good. That guy ended up like he put out like a video. He's all of a sudden like the cool guy, this like dude who's just like an executive there. And it's like I said that like these people can make anyone look like the hero because they suck. Like,
well, he looked competent and strong and knowledgeable, and
because it is like, the lights were off in my house. Have you thought about putting on the switch? Oh.
Yeah, it was a lot of it was real glaring. I remember the one guy with like,
you telling me that TikTok didn't take over my Wi-Fi?
Yeah, like what do you think Wi-Fi does? Like, what do you?
It was crazy though, because at the TikTok thing, there was a woman there, one of the Republicans.
Yeah.
What's her name? Republican congresswoman from
something. It's Cat something.
Oh, there we go. Florida Congresswoman Cat Comack.
Cat Comack.
Yeah. She was there, and she was talking. She was one of the stars, one of the right-wing stars of this. Yep. She's like a Fox News regular. But there's also a video of her where she claimed. Yeah, I'll just play the video.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate Twitter when if you let go of it, also like it goes back. Okay, here we go.
That were amputated. So it had 3 toes that were amputated in a terrible accident. I heard the word
for creative miracles. And I thought, well, I certainly have a creative miracle that I might need. I need 3 toes to grow back. The person next to me said, do you want new toes? And I was like, well, sure. I sat down and they hit over my foot. And I decided to take my shoe off to see what was happening when he said, let's see progress. Everything happened. And I did. I had to grab the person next to me and say, do you see what I see? And I saw 3 toes that were forming, and now there's length to them. Tonight, I can stand on my tippy toes. Listen, you understand, I can stand on tippy toes. I didn't have those.
Amusing.
If someone
That's
approached
crazy that
me-
she said that during the TikTok here.
Yeah, this woman is not that congressman, but looks very similar
Hey,
to her.
what are you saying? You saying I'm putting out false information about Congresswoman Kat Kamak and saying that she's the lady that said her toes grow back with prayer?
God, so weird.
You know
so
what the
weird.
fucked up thing was? I posted that and it got like a decent amount, but like it got retweeted. It's like so many people. And I don't think one person said that's not her.
Yeah.
Like there was one account that reposted it, and I contacted them because there was like an account that like does stuff, like serious stuff. And I'm like, I wrote them, I'm like, this is a joke. And she like removed it immediately.
Right. Yeah.
'Cause I was like, what she does like is important. And I was like, I don't need you getting like your other stuff hurt because I made a joke about this like cat coming back from Florida.
Just such a weird thing. Like, and didn't she later too say they were just kind of like hangnails or something, not necessarily?
Oh, you mean I meant to say toenails grew back.
Yeah.
Not toenails grew back. You ever cut them real short and get a little bit of that blood?
God, I mean,
It was like the Dickens. But I prayed to Jesus, and then a week later they were back.
But if you have someone who believes that they can pray their toes into regenerating, then like, of course they're going to vote for Trump. You know, I mean, of course they're going to show up at a Q rally.
Like, okay, take off your sock and cut off the toe in front of me, and we'll pray it back.
Right. I mean,
I love it too. It's like the George Santos line.
Ugh.
Like George Santos claiming like that he produced Spider-Man, the musical.
Yeah, the musical,
was a disaster. And
Bring
it's
on the
like,
night.
okay, this is a shitty musical. No one's gonna like question you really and say like, really, you produced this? Now, if he came out and said like, I produced like Book of Mormon or Rent, then people would be like, no, you didn't. That was an award-winning. I didn't see you in anything. Like, but with Spider-Man being a disaster, it's like a lie that's like.
Yep.
It works. And it's like almost like the same thing. Like, you don't lie about something big. You're not going to say like, oh, my hand grew back. I lost a hand and it all grew back with the power of prayer. It's toes. No one's really going to check. And like out of all the body parts that could grow back, I can imagine if you really want to believe that any body part grow back, it's probably a toe. It seems less complicated. It doesn't seem like, you know what I mean? It's not like you're trying to like pray your head back or you know what I mean? Like
I don't know. When I heard that story, I kept thinking of the of Cletus's theme song from The Simpsons, where like the second verse is some folks will never lose a toe, and then again some folks will, like Cletus the slack-jawed yokel. Do you remember that? Like
I think so.
Yeah. Like just I mean it's also weird that she lost a bunch of toes. Like, and she lives in Florida and she's not
she's
like
the congresswoman in Florida too.
Yeah. It's just, the whole thing.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's like this. Okay, obviously, this fucking woman's lying. She has to. But again, it's like it's toes. So like people might not be like they're not be like, oh yeah, take your sock off. I want to see where.
No one's doing that.
No one's gonna do that. They're just like, okay. But if you like said like I prayed my leg back or I prayed my arm back, then people might be like, because like. Can I see a photo of you from last year?
Right, without a leg.
Before you prayed it back. Yeah, because like toes, it's like this, do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene heard that and was like trying to pray because she has like
fused toes.
Like, 2 toes on her feet or something? I don't know. I think that might be Photoshop, but fuck, man, might as well be.
Yeah.
It's like this lady is the congresswoman in Florida.
It is bizarre.
Also, do you think we could pray heal young Adam Jimmy? Did you see that skit I sent you?
I saw it, but I only saw it after you sent it to me. I had not
That is
seen
one
that
of
before.
the funniest skits ever. Mr. Show.
Right.
It's this band called Titanica, Bob Odenkirk, and I forgot Brian Posehn, and I forgot the other guy's name. And they have to go visit this kid at the hospital, and it's David Cross. And you find out like they had a song called Commit Suicide, like committing suicide while listening to that song. He's like, your parents sued us. Yeah, but you won. That's awesome. They pull back the bed sheet, and he's just like this fucking weird little burnt.
Looks like a bunch of hot dogs stitched together.
Yeah,
Like,
I said he looked like a wet cigar. So gross. And maybe, it's like one of the funniest skits. And he's like swinging his arms around. It's just David Cross's head sticking through a pillow. Probably one of the funny, like every time I see it, it makes me crack up. But I was thinking of The Mandalorian last week's episode.
Yeah.
Mando or Jen or whatever you want to call him puts on the little when he tells Grogu he has to like fight this kid and they're gonna wear like the little like paint gun gauntlets and he's putting like Grogu's like little arm. It made me think of the scene when they put a wristband around Aunt Jimmy and they like turn it into a belt because it's so like he's just like nothing now.
Yeah,
that's what it made me think of. Like I was like, that was like when I saw that scene in Mandalorian, it made me think of that skit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you think we could pray him? Maybe he could heal with power of prayer?
Well, hey, yeah. Right? At least his toes.
Sorry, just toes. God only has time to fix toes.
Right. Oh God.
Wow,
that's so weird.
Yeah, like you said, that's the people who attend like the Trump Waco.
Yeah. It is. I mean,
those things. He likes these people. He's probably like, this is where my life is now.
Well, they're just like, they are okay. So they're prone to exaggerate. They've got like this victim mentality. They are definitely used to like church services. And the only reason I say that is like the rhythm of a church service. Like, you know how like Trump just repeats himself and it's the same. But that's like, you're used to that if you're a big church goer. You're used to like it being the same thing and having like, I don't know. I mean, it all probably feels very familiar and comforting to them. Like weird little miracles, like I regrew my toes and I mean, like
see again.
Yeah. I mean,
I can hear again.
All that shit adds up to like, oh, that makes sense why all
I don't have that limp anymore.
Yeah.
My dick works.
Right.
Power of prayer.
God.
It's a Viagra. No, but I mean, like, come on, Trump goes to like the Waco thing. Come on, he's gotta be so fucking miserable. He's like, I used to get invited to award ceremonies.
Yeah.
I used to hang out with all kinds of people, important people. I used to attend all these functions. I was in Zoolander. I got to be in other movies. And now I'm attending a rally at a place where a cult was. Like, there has to be he has to be miserable. I don't believe that he's just, it's like, this is the gig, It's like,
I think he likes the attention, right?
Yeah, but I feel like he's got to be miserable as hell. This is the game. It's like, the minute it's like, he was, I think his shit was already starting to fade because like in Obama years, he was really going for like all the, he was like one of the big birther people.
Right.
And, that's when he started to get like rejected, I think, by like all the groups and like, he was not invited anymore because it was like, you're doing like a racism here. Like it's obvious. But once he went on stage and said the thing like Mexicans are rapists or,
right.
drugs, they're violent, that was it. It was over. But like now it's like to the point where it's like, he's the January 6th guy and he like killed other people with COVID and he's a psychopath and he's weird. And it's like, he's got to be miserable. He has to be. There's no way he's like, oh, I get to go to Waco, Texas.
Right.
That fucking lady that dresses up like a weird transvestite Captain America. Like,
yeah, because you're right. He was maybe not used to, but he thought of himself as being real used to like the Manhattan socialite.
He would go to like award shows and get to like big people's weddings. It's like people tolerated him, and it was like that shit's done.
Yeah.
He'll claim, "Oh, I don't want to deal with those people anyway." Bullshit. You think he wants to hang out with fucking? I don't even know. I can't even like look how miserable he was when he was at Diamond's the Diamond's funeral.
Right.
I thought this was gonna be 5 minutes. Like I was here, you guys. 3 hours of my life was taken. I could have been shitting. I saw some video of him. Someone claimed that someone who worked on The Apprentice said that he would shit his pants all the time. Like
I've heard this.
You've heard this? Like he said that like because he all he does is eat like meat and he also does like cocaine or other types of what's the one they snorts up? They say like
methamphetamine or
it almost works like a laxative, so it would make him like shit his pants all the time. Supposedly he wears like a diaper.
I could see that.
I don't know. I thought that was really funny. I'm like, there's probably truth to that.
Yeah. The guy's like super old too. I mean,
but this was years ago. I mean, this
that's a good point.
But yeah, I mean, he wasn't young back then either. I know that's like the other funny thing, man. He looks old.
He looks old.
Like, he's looking haggard. Like this isn't Trump 2016. He looks haggard.
I wonder if he's changed or if he just really benefited from like the White House team. I
think that no matter what, they always show before and after pictures of people who are president. Yeah. They usually age poorly. Like that's
true, but usually it's because they've like made weighty decisions over 4 years. Trump just like maggoted. I mean, like he probably that was the most rest he
got little
ever
sleep.
Gotten.
They make decisions. They're up all night.
Yeah. He probably slept like a baby every night, without a thought in his head.
I bet you he was hardly ever at the White House. Again,
yeah, that could be.
I can guarantee you he probably slept there like 4 times. I can just imagine that.
Yeah.
Or maybe he doesn't sleep. He goes in like a chamber. All right. So we talked about the weird toe lady.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing is the Elon Twitter thing.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about that. I do want to mention the Disney thing at the end.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, you want to talk about Disney first before we talk about it?
Yeah. So this has kind of been like on my radar for a little while. Disney had for the long time this Reedy Creek Development District or whatever, and basically they made their own rules and which is kind of shady, but that's how they've done
theme
it.
Park Disney, not like
Disney, the Magic Kingdom in Florida.
Yeah,
and so basically, Disney is a big chunk of land in the middle of Orange County, kind of between Orange and Osceola counties, and there's a ton of land there. They own a ton of it. It's the Reedy Creek Development District, and they're responsible. They don't ask Orange County to build roads. They build roads themselves.
Right. They're like almost like paying their own way on everything, right?
Yes, exactly. So like when they need power lines run, they don't call up Orange County or FPL or whatever. They do it themselves. And
so it's almost like they were less of a burden on the taxpayer in some way.
Yeah. And their advantage is that they got some tax breaks, I suppose. But like the all in all, no one cared because Disney is a huge net positive for that area. Right. Orlando wouldn't exist the way it exists today without Disney. Everyone loves going to Disney or whatever. So Ron DeSantis got really angry at Disney and he pulled that ability from Disney and like shuffled the board and put it under his like CHUD control or whatever. But Disney slipped in this bizarre, like a day before this new thing was to go into effect, they changed the agreement between themselves and Reedy Creek to basically disempower the board. So when the new board took over, they were completely without power. They have no authority or ability to do anything. And it's really pissed them off. It's like what the Republicans did to the Democratic governor of Wisconsin, where basically the exiting Republican governor got with the legislature and said, now the new governor is powerless. You know, they did that in North Carolina, they did that in Wisconsin. Anyway, Disney did that to the Republicans in Florida, and the way they made it sound is that Disney used a loophole to strip them of power until at least 2053. And there's like this bizarre clause in there where it says that like they will revisit it after the last of Charles III's descendants pass away or something. It was
Charles.
Yeah, it was really kind of like a masterstroke.
So I don't understand. How does a private company have power over the legislation? Like, what? I don't get that. Like, how are they able to? Yeah,
well, I think that the way Ron DeSantis tried to muscle through his things is he didn't mess with the Reedy Creek Development District. He just made it so that he got to appoint the members. Right? So all the shit was still in place. He just put his own members in there and figured like whenever Disney did something he didn't like, the members would like fuck shit up for Disney. And then so Disney just said, okay. And then like the day before it was supposed to happen, they took all power away from the board.
So is this the thing that was supposed to be, you know, how like they had this deal where they were able to be responsible for everything, but then thanks to DeSantis, all of a sudden everyone in that area, all the taxpayers would be burdened now with basically gave it a tax increase. Is this the thing that prevents that?
Yes, I think this does prevent the taxpayers from being on the hook.
I mean, all this happened because Ron DeSantis is an asshole. Put in that "Don't Say Gay" bill, which is that from that guy who was arrested. That we talked about on what was it, Harding or something last week. Yeah. This fucking guy is a criminal. He's going to jail. And Disney, and Disney, the corporation, probably doesn't give a fucking shit.
No,
but
right?
The creatives, people that live there, people that worked at Disney, all the people that were like, you can't back this. This is like, we have to say something. This is like ridiculous, So Disney basically, we don't support this or whatever. And because of that, all of a sudden Disney became this evil woke company.
Yeah.
And Ron DeSantis then was like, I'm gonna punish them, even though he does everything they want anyway. He just has to create this facade that he's tough on Disney.
Right.
And that's where this all started. It's all because it's kind of like the same thing with like TikTok. All the grievances on TikTok, really, besides the fact because evil China, whatever, that's one thing. It really just comes down to where it really starts was a bunch of kids on TikTok fucked with a Trump rally.
Yeah, a Trump rally.
Where they pretended to sign up. It all spread around on TikTok and then ended up being a huge embarrassment for Trump because nobody was there.
Yeah.
Had a huge overflow. It was not needed. There was all this empty stages. It was supposed to be this much bigger event. And
that was hilarious.
Like there was a decent amount of people there, but they were promised like 1 million people were going to show up.
Yeah.
And that's why they hate TikTok to this day. That's all it really is. It's because of that. And it's the same thing with Disney. They just hate Disney because they said something about we don't think that bill is a good idea.
Well, and
it wasn't like anything crazy.
And MAGA chuds hate Disney because now we have a black Ariel. I mean, they just, it's like, I don't know. I find
I love it though. They're like all the right wing chuds are like they think that like I see all these like right wing grifters and so on YouTube they're all like, yeah, we're getting rid of they fired this one CEO and replaced him with another one because he's less woke.
Yeah.
They fired this lady from Marvel who made the company woke. This is
it's so funny. I mean, I read that
the world works.
I read this article by Eugene Robinson last week, and he was saying basically, if I'm paraphrasing him, I hope correctly, he was saying basically they're pissed off because woke won. The future is woke.
But the term is so.
I know it's ambiguous, but if you if you were to define woke in reasonably positive terms. Okay. And I'll try. I'm not saying this is what woke is, but like for me, like for a long time, I didn't really understand systemic racism. And then one day I kind of realized like, oh, if a cop pulls me over, it's just a routine bummer. But if a cop pulls like a black kid over, it could be a life or death situation.
Yeah, it could be like literally an execution.
Right. And so then I was kind of awakened to that fact. And it felt like a quick kind of revelation or like, oh, wow, like a little epiphany. And I was asleep on that. And now I am.
And right wingers want to use the word woke to just describe everything they hate.
Right, exactly. So like
everything they hate, if they don't like a legislation, it's because it's woke. They don't like a movie because it was woke. If they don't like a show because it was woke. If they don't like a food, the food was woke. The M&M was woke. It's so stupid. And I think the term woke goes back to like the 30s. And again, it was like a term created, like black people like created the term. But again, it's like it gets abused today. So I'm glad
it's lost
that like
its meaning.
It has no meaning anymore. It's just like it's just a cover for Republicans to do whatever they want. You know, it's like TikTok's too woke. That's why we're going after and we're going to put in this.
But even so, like someone should be like, well, okay, I get that you don't like woke, but is it against the law? I mean,
or how about you
want to make it a well,
it's the same thing with like CRT. Define it. What is CRT?
Yeah. Well,
it's about hating white people. No, it's not.
Yeah. Where'd you read that? Can you show
me?
Like,
you mean acknowledging the existence of other people in history is hating white people? That's an odd flex.
It is. It is though. I think woke. I feel stupid saying that word in this context, but like, it's winning. It's won. Like, I mean, look, Disney's not going to start making like.
I think I don't know if it's like it's winning. It's more just like.
Of course, it's winning. Like
no, but I mean, like
you're not going to see whiter and whiter movies in the future. You're not going to see, like you're not going to see people. You're not going to see fewer people speaking Spanish.
You know, but the thing is that what Disney does and a lot of studios do, and this is the thing the right won't admit, is they do this bullshit where like. You know, there might be a side character who's minority. There's a side character who's a side character. But, you know, it's like, okay, for every like Black Panther movie, you need another superhero movie with the lead as a black person.
I'm just saying it's getting progressively better.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with you. It's
like, it's like, woke, we'll just use the term woke washing. You know, it's like, no, it's true. Like these studios, like, yeah, we need to have a diversified cast, but it's like, you know, okay, fine. We had like Shang-Chi, but like it's not, or like, okay, here's a good example. Like Everything Everywhere All at Once won an Oscar.
Yeah.
Like name the last time an Asian person won an Oscar.
Right.
You know, like name the last time, you know, they do this shit all the time. And it's like, you know, or they'll say like, is Hollywood liberal? I mean, no, it's not at all. It's
but
from it.
Yeah. And I agree
that reactive. Like
pop culture,
to the culture.
Pop culture, like cinematic or like mainstream pop culture, maybe a tough one. I'm just saying, like with the kids, this generation is going to grow up thinking that it's fine to be trans.
They're not going to have the same hang-ups that other people have. It's like, you know, it's like when my kid was born, it's like Obama was president. You know, it's like it's just something that like is not out of the norm, but like.
But that's it. I mean, like Ron DeSantis is in charge of Florida. Florida's property insurance rates are out of control. The market's failing, and Miami is losing ground to the Atlantic Ocean every day. And they've got like outbreaks of weird tropical diseases all over because of globalization and climate change and ripping apart forests. And he's worried about Candies wearing boots. You know, I mean, or he's worried about
it's a distraction. It's like, you know, or like I'm gonna say that I'm gonna outlaw like what do you say? It was about gas stoves, and it was like It's like, dude, there's like hardly anyone with a gas stove in Florida. Like, what do you give a shit about this? Why are you or like I'm gonna like pay to have I'm gonna use COVID funds to like export migrants from another state to a different state that has nothing to do with Florida. Like it's all these like political stunts to distract, create a culture war, and distract his constituents. And so after they vote for him and then wake up the next day and realize like their home insurance is doubled again,
Yeah.
like they're fucked. You're stuck with this guy.
Well, that's
but then he can just come out and say like, hey, I saw Mr. Potato Head wearing lipstick the other day. We've
Right.
got to do something about that. And that person's like, whoa, sign me up, sir.
Yeah. See, and Nikki Fried was talking about this today on Twitter. The next Democratic candidate in Florida just needs to keep hammering that home. Like, what do you pay in homeowners insurance? You know, do you have any relatives?
The wallet, you know,
Yeah.
you know, if they bring up anything when it comes to social things, you could say, I think Ron is wrong on all these things, but you know, the one thing that we can agree on is that we don't want to pay $30,000 a year for home insurance.
Right. And just keep deflecting all that other shit. And if they're like, hey, what about the
brain-eating viruses?
what about the book burnings or whatever, you know, book bans, whatever? I would just say, look, I'm sure local school boards can handle it. You don't just keep focused on these big things.
Yeah, you don't let the distract. You know, it's like I saw this other thing too. Speaking of like the whole Hollywood being liberal is bullshit. There's this one horrible account I see on Twitter all the time called like End Wokeness, and it's literally just
I've seen that one.
Racist rage bait site account. It's an outright racist. I mean, it's got the blonde hair Wojak in the center. I mean,
I'm sure it's written by like six 4chan people like tag teaming it.
Yeah, it's literally a Nazi account, and they posted this thing about like like showing diversity in movies or whatever, like this is an attack on white people or some bullshit. And I said, I left the comment tweet on it. I said, you know, this is bullshit. You could go back 5-10 years and see parts that were supposed to be played by a minority being played by a white person. This isn't, you know, just because now recently in studios are like, yeah, maybe we should actually cast the Asian guy to play the Asian character. You know, maybe we should actually play, you know what I mean? Like you could go back a couple years, you got Emma Stone playing an Asian woman. You go back a couple years, Angelina Jolie was playing a black woman. All they did was they literally tanned her skin up and gave her curly hair.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. Like you tell them like this is only a recent thing that like studios are like finally like, okay, we'll actually cast cast a real Indian. Instead of just putting Brown on the guy who played Dr. Octopus. What's his name? The guy could play it, but that guy
Alfred Molina. Yeah,
he's like he gets a excuse. No, I'm kidding. It's like Ben Kingsley playing Gandhi. It's like the guy is not. I don't even think he's even Middle Eastern. He played a Middle Eastern person a million times.
Yeah, I wonder if like any of these laws are going to affect the Medea movies. You know,
the Medea.
Yeah, like
I think they're safe. I don't think.
You think they're safe? I don't know.
I think
I'd have to the letter of the law that.
You mean like because he dresses up like a woman?
Yeah.
What are you saying? Oh.
Yeah, I wonder if like.
Yeah, but he talks about church a lot, so
I know, but like that's how the devil gets you.
That's how the devil gets you. It's like the armory person allowing,
Bo-Katan to show her face.
Bojack
Horseman. Bo-Katan. Bo-Katana.
Bo-Katan. Bojack. Depressed, shrugged down horse.
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan, like you can wear the mask because you serve a purpose here.
Yeah.
You know, they always have an excuse. It's like the right has like Blair White. It's this trans person. It's literally like she's literally a trans person, and all she does is shit on trans people. And the right like props her up and on their shows. It's like they always it's it's like Candace Owens also.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if Medea counts, but
I will find out.
You do some heavy. You look into that.
I'll run a.
My TikTok account is just who plays Medea? What's that guy's name?
Tyler Perry, is it? I think it is.
Yeah, it's just him and drag. That's my
That's all of it's just like.
Why is it like that, Mr. TikTok? Well,
yeah. I remember when when I would teach, every once in a while there'd be a day where like all the kids are doing something, but like I hated this. Like all the kids got to go to like a field day or a reward, but like if you had a overdue library book or whatever, you had to sit in the classroom. Like you couldn't go play with the other kids or whatever. And all the kids wanted to watch Medea movies. That's like all they wanted to do.
That's so weird.
It really
I
was.
didn't think that would ever appeal to children.
Well, these were like high school kids. And I watched one with them. It was like Medea. Here's
They're bad movies, right? Like
they're bad. They're like they're I don't know how I would describe them. I think they're bad movies. I think they're very like simple movies. You know what I mean? Like
is it a simple folk movie? Yeah, Jesus, like it's all like weird religious, like
well, like here's an example. Like they'll say a joke, and then they'll wait, and there's no laugh track or anything. They just wait for you to like get it. Like
when you watch a sitcom, and then you like I remember there was a clip going around of like Big Bang Theory with the soundtrack removed.
Yeah.
And it was the most bizarre thing where they were all talking to each other. And everything had like without the laugh track there. Everyone would be like, "So, Sheldon, what did you do today?" Or I don't know, there'd be a joke, and then there'd be this pause.
Right.
Then Sheldon would say something, and there'd be like a weird pause, and then the other guy would say something, and there'd be like another strange pause.
Real disjointed,
like,
yeah.
Like,
that's actually how the Medea movies are, like without the laugh track.
No laugh track.
But they wait for you to get the joke because like they can't like move on to the next joke without making sure you understood the first one.
I saw Scream 6 the other day.
Oh, how was that?
It was fine. It was fine. It was entertaining. It did its job.
I watched Nope the other day again. That was on Amazon Prime.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
it was real good. I liked it better on a rewatch, I think.
So the Scream movies, though, the one thing I've always found interesting about it, like whenever they get to like the big reveal and who that's like the whole movie. It's the same every movie.
Yeah,
it's always like who's the
person in the ghost mask. Yeah.
This time. And it's not the one last time because they usually get killed. They
right.
Survive. So it's always a new crop. But they always have they're always related to the last killer in some way. But they always like revealed like it's some like theater geek. It's some little girl. And you're watching the movie and the person in the ghost face mask is taking on like a football player. Fucking getting a TV thrown at them. They are unstoppable. When they wear that ghost face costume, they are in an Iron Man suit. It is insane. And then they'll take their mask off and it's like a 4'11" girl. And she's like, "That's right, it was me all along." And you're like, "Wait, you were like 6 feet tall the last scene. Where did this happen?" That's my only real issue. And it's been like that since the beginning. Like I've always like found those
That's true. Yeah.
They're like the protagonist or whatever, they try to stop the ghost face, or there's people and they fight, they punch ghost face, they hit it with a bat, and there's no stopping them. Yeah. And then the end reveal, it's Vern Troyer from Powers. takes the mask off, and all of a sudden it's just a little 3-foot man.
Yeah.
Warwick Davis the whole time. That's right. It was May.
Yeah.
Did you see that they canceled Willow?
Guy, you told me that, and then I found out afterwards that was really
hurt,
awful.
Right?
Yeah, I really loved that first season. Every episode was great. Towards the end, the episodes were just phenomenal. Like beautiful to look at.
They even said they weren't trying to be like greedy. They were like, "Look, it's just part 1 of the 3 part. We just want 2 more seasons."
Yeah.
They showed the book closes, and there was 2 other books.
Right.
Like, we're not trying to like be greedy. We're not looking for like 10 seasons. Just give us 2 more seasons.
All the people seemed on board. I mean, it was just such a great show.
How are we gonna know what about the worm?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like look, I am okay, I guess, because it really, really was good. And I can kind of get with the cliffhangery ending, just knowing that like those things, you know what I mean? Like those happen. Like, oh, that was a story, and of course it's going to be an ongoing story. That's how fairy tales are. But that sucked. That was such a great show.
The creators of the show, whatever, like came out and said, like, all right, well, like the show's not like outright canceled, right? Okay, you're like, what, really? But then it's like, but all the actors were released from their contract.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
It's canceled.
It's canceled.
Yeah, and the actors are kind of what made the show, I thought. It was a great cast, really, really great cast. And
the one guy from Willow who plays the guy who gets possessed, guy who kind of like has a thing for Lorna Dannon. He was in the new Scream movie.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I would say this is rare for me though. Normally, like, remember that show we watched that was really good, Archive 81 or something?
Yeah.
I would say with Archive 81, like it didn't get renewed, and I'd be like, oh, okay, if you want to watch it, cool, but I don't know if I'd recommend it because there is no season 2. But with Willow, I would 100% recommend watching it, even though it ends kind of unreasonable.
I still think you get like a good ending. Like there's definitely some like, okay, it would be nice to have another season, at least kind of just catch up on the characters and see where they're at. There are a couple of cliffhangers and stuff. I don't think like you could still enjoy it. And the difference between two is like, I mean, I get it. Willow looked like an expensive show.
It did.
There's like good actors, and a lot of these people that are in are people that are in lots of other stuff too. That's why I'm like, okay, they're releasing their contracts. Like that means the show's never getting made because a lot of these people, like, they're
gonna go. Yeah, they're gonna go work.
Busy. They're gonna get work somewhere else, and they're gonna have other contracts, and they're not gonna be able to. So who knows? But if we ever get another Willow, it might not be for like 10 years.
I wish they'd at least made a movie. They could have done a 2-hour not Netflix, Disney
Netflix
plus movie. They could have done a movie. They could have like.
It's interesting because I feel like with Disney, like, I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. All I ever watch is like Star Wars and Star Wars shows and Marvel shows. So there's lots of other stuff on there. There's all kinds of like shows on there. I have no idea about. I don't know if they get renewed, but like I watched Willow, and that was like the first show I saw that got canceled on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I've never seen like a show get canceled. Now, here's a real quick thing before we move on to the last thing. And this is what I learned. A story came out about like Netflix, because people like were shitting on Netflix, like, oh, all they do is cancel stuff. And this is like across the board on all streaming platforms. What prevents a show from getting renewed is, and the way they read it is, okay, let's say Netflix dumps all their shows, right?
Yeah.
You get a lot of people who watch like episode 1.
I've heard this. Yeah.
How many people are watching the last episode? Like, are watching the whole season? And that's really where they determine it. It's like, okay, we saw people drop off at the episode 3. That's not good. And that's why shows get canceled a lot.
That's what the guy who did The Sandman said. If you like the show, even if you're not super into it now, stream it. Even if you're not in the room, just stream it over the weekend.
Just play it in the background.
Just play it in the background. He came out and said that, and he was like, that's how we get a season 2. You can, if like, I get not everyone wants to watch all like 9 episodes of something in a weekend, but do it, get it going. And
so if everyone sits back and sits there and watches an entire, like You, for example, does Netflix drops You, and they released it in 2 parts, and everyone watches the first 6 parts, episodes that weekend. Netflix is like, that's a hit,
right?
But if they're like, they watched 2 episodes and they didn't finish it, we gave it all to them, they didn't want to watch it.
I mean, I get that logic, but
I feel Amazon or any of these other streaming services, Disney, they decided everything's weekly. I don't know, I feel like as they get more content on, I in the beginning when it was just Mandalorian, a couple other things, I get it. It was like, okay, we want you hooked onto this app. We don't have like a billion things yet, so we're gonna release this stuff weekly. But like with Star Wars now, I almost feel like some things maybe should just be dumped. Because sometimes like the weekly could hurt the show. It's like, I would say a good example was this Mandalorian this week, where like people were not liking episode 3 of Mandalorian. They weren't liking they did it like 4, and then like it's like, are they gonna tune in next week? And then this episode was really good,
Yeah, that was great.
So, but who knows? They could have lost a lot of people in there, and then they're not. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to tell a rich story, and it involves like, I'm not going to give you everything in episode 3. You're going to have to watch this. This is a setup, but some people don't care.
Yeah.
You know? I think the other thing I've heard, this is it's again, I read comics. I'm used to like reading like crazy stories that have been told for like decades, and like not everything's so accessible, right? So like, they're saying like, okay, you put on The Mandalorian now, you're probably like, I have no fucking clue what's going on. But I would say to that person, this isn't like TV from 20 years ago.
Right.
Like, tune in episode 5, 5th season of Buffy, and you don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, it's not like that anymore. Like, all the episodes of Mandalorian are right there.
Yeah.
Start from episode 1.
Yeah, you can do that, and you can like go on Wikipedia if you need to be reminded of something.
I mean, there's YouTube shows, there's all kinds of things. But I'm saying like that old, like, it's like an old style way of thinking of like TV works, and it's like, the whole point of TV back in the day was you want to make sure that the new, when they tune into a new episode of Bonanza. It'd be like they're watching for the first time, and they would get everything they need to know from that first episode.
Yeah.
While now it's like things are different. You don't need to do that anymore, because usually these streaming services have all the seasons on there, and you can just start right from the beginning, so you have a clue what's going on. You know what I mean? It's not like network TV where you like bump into a show,
right?
You're like, I have no fucking clue what's going on. This guy's working in a bar and he keeps hitting on this woman. I have no idea what's going on. That's not how TV works anymore.
No, it hasn't for a while. So
right. So I just think like the excuse of like, oh, this show, I don't get it. Well, then start from the beginning. Like, it's right fucking there. Why are you who watches a streaming show like that? Like, yeah, that's right. I'm gonna put on the new one. I will say, I did do that a little bit with Picard. I started watching the 3rd season.
Yeah. Okay.
All the people from like Next Generation are in it.
Yeah.
Do I really need to watch season 1 and 2 to enjoy?
I don't think so, unless you're really into Star Trek. I'm pretty into Star Trek. I found season 1 initially great, and then it dragged, and I found season 2 a little bit of a drag as well. Not bad, but no, I think you can start with 3 and move forward.
Because it looks like they're just bringing everybody back from Next Generation.
Yeah, it's a victory lap. I mean, this is like the end of the road for Picard, and yeah. And I would just watch this, and then if you're like, oh, I want to see more of some of these characters, you can watch episodes.
What's his face is like 1,000 years old, so it's like, really, how many more seasons of Picard are we gonna get?
Not many.
So speaking of the last thing.
Oh yeah, last topic. Elon Musk and Twitter.
So he announced that, is this one? I'm assuming we're talking about the same thing. The other day, he announced starting April 15th. So there's 2 categories on Twitter.
Yes.
There's For You and following. So if you click on following, it's literally just the stuff you follow.
Yep.
And if it's For You, it's gonna be stuff you follow, but there's probably a good chance I'm gonna get like inundated with a lot of right-wing shit.
Yes, exactly.
But starting April 15th, the For You will only be people who pay for the service. So the only way. So I like the For You because that's how I find out things sometimes. Like if I just did following, like I don't want to see Marjorie Taylor Greene in there, but it's good to like see what she's reacting to, so I can know what thing she's doing. But like, I don't want to see everything she's, I don't want to see Lauren Boebert's tweets. I don't want to see it, but it's good to like see him once in a while. But like the idea of like, okay, so the For You thing, if it's just Twitter Blue, and most of the people are paying for Twitter Blue are just like a bunch of Elon stans.
Yep.
It's gonna suck the account.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like it's gonna be terrible.
He said in the For You, he said you will also see people you followed.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's fine. That's how it's supposed to be. That's
Right.
how it is now. But
I-
like, go ahead.
yeah, no, you're right. That is what he's doing. And honestly, that like gets rid of one of the key things of Twitter. And when Twitter was working really well, I thought, you would get tweets that get liked and retweeted and whatever. And if enough people did, then it would wind up on your stream and you would discover them. And they've kind of been vetted by all these other people before. And you could choose to like it or not like it, or follow them or not follow them. But it was like a cool way to see these new accounts that were getting bigger that you never would have before, you know?
Yeah.
And the algorithm used to work pretty well. Like if you were searching about education, you'd get tweets about education and stuff. But yeah, now I'll tell you, unless I think about it, and I don't often think about it, my tweets get seen by like, I don't know, 100 people. And it's people I interact with all the time. But like Twitter just got so much smaller for me, you know? So much of a smaller place. I'll still like get a good reaction if I like comment on someone else's, and I guess that's always been the case. But like, all I see are these like fucking shitty takes by paid blue check marks. That's like,
well, come April 15th, that's literally all it's going to be.
yeah, and like I don't know what's left. I mean, like, honestly, I don't go to Twitter for news anymore. Not really. I mean, like
I still do, but like. It come April 15th, if that's really the plan, he sticks to it, this site is dead. I mean, like, I think it's just dead. I think like it will not function the way it's supposed to function. And like, and I think in the long run, that's just gonna hurt the platform. I don't think it's just like, that's right, on this day we leave. No, people will just go on it and see a bunch of like crypto schemers and right-wing chuds with like 10 followers with fake blue check marks, putting out like 20,000. What is it like now? You can like do like 2,000 word tweets.
Those Nick Adams tweets are like fucking, they go on forever. You know,
there was like a tweet from Ben Shapiro the other day, and it was like, God, it was like 3,000 words. I mean, I left a comment and said, "Who stopped reading after the first like 2 sentences?"
Yeah, right. I saw that. Yeah,
that's because you're stupid. It's like, no, I'm smart. I'm not going to read this nonsense. It's crap. Yeah. Like, it's just gonna be a bunch of like diatribes. Like, that's a joke. Elon Musk is just gonna make it that like the next mass shooters manifesto. It's gonna be a Twitter blue account.
Yeah, right. It is bizarre. He's just kind of like tanked the
They're all company. Those bad ideas. It's like he doesn't understand. It's like he bought the platform because he was tricked into buying it.
Yep.
He has bad divorce and divorce energy.
Yep.
He just like, he gets encouraged by all these like right-wing chuds, and the whole point of the whole blue check, like everything the right wing would always go off about attacking the blue check marks. And it was always funny because it was coming from people with blue check marks. This is before you paid for it. It was because you were verified because you worked for like one guy I went to high school with. He posted a thing the other day. He says, that was it. Anyone who had a blue check mark in the past, if you're not paying for it, you're going to lose it come April 15th. Everyone.
Right. Yeah.
So all these celebrities were like, the fuck would I pay for this? Like, I help you. Like, my fucking account, people come here to hear my tweet because like I'm a known celebrity. Well, I'm not going to pay for this. Like, you should be paying me, they said. And it's a fucking straight up truth. Like, I'm not going to pay for this. My name is worth money. Why the fuck would I pay you? You should be paying me $8 a month.
I saw William Shatner comment about that. He's basically like, I've been an unpaid writer here for years.
Yeah.
And people interact with me and I interact with them. Like, do you want me to pay you $8 to generate this sort of interest for your company?
That's what the funniest thing about social media. It's like, ever since it's started, it's that it tricked people who used to get paid for every word they make.
Yeah.
These people get paid by the word, and now they're putting out their content for free. Now, some of them are just like, I ate chicken today. It's like dumb shit like that.
Sure.
They're putting out their opinions. They're putting out their thoughts. Some of it's for promotion and it works in their favor. But like, the fact is, that's the truth. It's like William Shatner says, paid authors, paid by the word. He did all those sci-fi novels and stuff for years. And he's like, and you're telling me I have to pay for this? Like, this is fuck that.
Yeah.
But it's like Elon Musk buys Twitter because he gets tricked by Tim Pool and all these other chuds. So and say we're going to go after the blue check marks and we're going to go after the. Basically, it's an attack. It's an attack on journalism. It's really what it is.
Oh yeah.
On true journalism, not fucking bullshit right wing crap. And then he comes in. He's like, "Oh well, this costs me a lot of money. I got to find ways to make money." And it's all like, why would anyone pay for this? This is like, again, I said this in the past. We talked about this before on this podcast. I used to work for a company back in the day, Tromaville. It was not Trauma, but Tromaville. It was like using a name. It was in the same building, but it was a website and it was a hosting platform. And the whole point, this was pre-2000 bubble crash with the internet. All these companies were like, people will pay for this content. They will. No, they won't. That's why it bombed. Everything bombed. Nothing. They didn't know how to make money in the internet. And then one day they, with social media came along and they were like, wait, we'll give you a platform, but we're going to sell we're going to sell you. You're the product.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he still doesn't get that. I don't know. I part of me like, I still think the main goal was to destroy Twitter.
It seems it.
And that is a success in itself for him and his cohorts.
Yeah.
But like, that is not really what he was hoping for. I think he really was hoping that this could become, he could turn this into the every app or something. Well, it was like some app in China thing that he was trying to hope it would be.
He was going to launch, it was going to do like your banking and it was going to do a whole bunch of things.
Because that's the thing I want to do. I want to go on, I want to bank with the app where I see like people say like, I got fucked today real hard. Like I see tweets like that on my Twitter feed from like people. I'm like, you tweeted that? You're a person? You really want to put that out there? I mean, like what? Like, okay.
You sure about that?
You sure about that? You sure about that? I've seen that on TikTok a lot.
That's a good one.
The guy from
I think you should leave.
I think you should leave. And the other one is Rick shit.
Right.
Get out of here. Yeah, I've seen that one a lot too. But like I see people like tweet all kinds of crazy stuff, and I'm like always like, is this what you want on there? Like, do you go back and delete this stuff? Like, but like I'm not gonna bank with that app. Like, I see some really funny stuff. Like the day I posted the thing with the lady with the toes, it was like honestly, I was cracking up for hours. But let me tell you, I wouldn't sit there and been like, oh yeah, the thing I want to do is put my life savings in.
I want to draw my retirement from that app. Like,
like what are you thinking?
Nah, no fucking way.
And then I don't know if this one was true or not. Like, again, they're going to try doing like Twitter gems or some bullshit, which is just basically NFTs.
Yeah. I have not heard that, but that would not stun me for a bit. Not stun me in a bit.
Didn't like Meta completely crash and that didn't Disney just fire a ton of people and it was like their Meta division?
Yeah, they did. I think that tech always seemed too far off to really get serious about it now. It's definitely worth there being a metaverse and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of that makes really good sense. But
how about you just make Facebook work properly?
Yeah, start there. Start there.
Facebook is a fucking mess.
Yeah,
it is. I think it is possibly the worst app. It's a mess. Like, at least to this day, Twitter is still, even when it's glitchy, it's still like a simple feed, and you can search things pretty easily. It will show up. And Instagram, same thing. It's a simple thing. It's like the only thing that's made it more convoluted over the years was stories and reels.
True.
And live and stores. But like Facebook is a fucking mess.
It's tough. Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't enjoy going on there. It's always like a project. I don't know.
Well, it's just there's so much information, so many buttons, so many categories. It's like
I always feel like it's never working properly. Like there's something missing. And I feel like things go missing too. They just vanish.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything to say about it. Just saying that is true, and that is exactly what's going to go into effect come April 15th. you'll just see usage drop over the
I
years.
think so.
It won't
I
be,
think
I don't
that's
think it'll be
likely.
like immediately, but it's just, I will say though, I did see that it came out that Twitter is worth only 20 billion now.
Yeah, it got cut in half.
More than half.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah, it's worth less than half now.
Mm.
Congrats.
Yeah.
What a
Heck of a
genius. I will say the one amazing thing about him, ever since he put Twitter, like do you ever hear about Mars anymore?
No, that's true. No.
You don't ever hear about that. That is like gone. I think I don't think that's even like a fart in the wind anymore.
Yeah, he may have bigger fish to fry right now. Yeah.
What a grift.
I know. Oh,
like, wait, we're gonna terraform Mars and we're gonna send people there, but we can't even like grow food in parts of the country.
Yeah.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Yeah, I think he is.
Right. All right. Well, I don't know. Is there anything else you have to say, Joseph?
I think that's it. Yeah.
You know, I will say this. I lost my toe this morning with the power of this podcast.
Grew it back.
I grew it back. Actually, I grew an
Nice.
extra one. I have a
Love
backup.
that.
It's on the back of my knee. It's really painful. Might just
when that woman was relating the story about a guy who asked her if she needed new toes, I thought for sure that he was going to pull a bag with 10 toes out of his pocket or something. Like,
you're not going to believe this, but I pulled off my sock and magically I had toes. Yeah, I would imagine if you started regrowing toes, the process would be incredibly painful.
Oh, yeah.
Like all of a sudden you'd be like, oh, what the fuck? Like, and if
You
it's
have like fucking bone regenerating under your skin.
Piercing under your muscle, reforming, like imagine like like little and teething. Like imagine like times by the power of like, now are we talking like a fast regrowth throw where it's like, whoa, what is going on here? Or
she seemed to suggest it was like American Werewolf in London transition type of fast.
Well, that was pretty painful too, but I guess a quick painful, it'd be like, I love that transformation scene. That's like
a good one.
He's like, what the fuck? It's just like his arm would grow.
Crazy.
So cool. Yeah, I would imagine toe regrowth would be, or just any regrowth in pot would just be.
Yeah, but I think toe would be up there. It's like
scar tissue breaking apart and and it would be slow. Probably take months to grow that toe back. You'd be like, I don't even want this toe. Can we stop?
Right. I'll go without.
Probably take like a year to regrow it. It would just be the worst year of your life.
Yeah. Oh, the hell with that.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. On that note, on that toe. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you toe is going on about that, right?
Right.
Let's say that again. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still
toe
about that. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.